What's up, my friends in film fandom, wherever you may be and however you may be watching? Thank you so much for giving us just a little bit of your time. 500 subscribers has been reached. Me and Tex talked about it last night during the football stream. Yeah. We finally broke that threshold. Thanks to all of you. Thanks again to Tex for being a great part of the show. To my hetero life mate Jeremy for being here since really the beginning of this whole idea. To Cora for coming in and being a great part of it, and all the people that have been along for the ride to this point. We're looking forward to scheduling that charity stream for the Abandoned Pet Project. But before we can get to all that, we have to finish breaking down the scary month of movies. And what better people can I have around to talk about somebody like Art the Clown? You see that sexy man on the right side of your screen? That's who we're talking about today. He is.
You mean me, right?
Attention. The far right. Yeah, farther right than you, which is
far right. Far right. Okay, sorry. Just checking.
Who better to break us guy down with than with the guys I had with me today? Starting with my hetero life mate Jeremy. What's up, brother? Broody Gamer's mad at you. He said he wanted one of you guys to come in full Art the Clown, regalia, and he said if he didn't, he was going to complain a lot. So,
hey, that'll push our comments up the algorithm. So go right ahead, be mad. I don't care.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? He could have gotten an invite to this if he wanted one, I'm sure. But you know what? He just wants to complain, so he just gets what he gets. So he's going to deal like everybody else. So that's fine.
But my retort to that was there is a sequel. So I literally got home, I think, 15 minutes before we started. So I literally had no time, and trust me, I was going to, but.
We'll make sure when we do either the sequel or the third one, which we'll talk about here in a minute, that maybe all of us will come in full Art the Clown regalia. I'm sure I could find something that I could throw on. So Jeremy, I'm sure, has some white face paint that he can smear on my face and do some Art the Clown stuff. But also with us, of course, is the other horror aficionado, the shape from the Lone Star State, my man Tex.
We've been toiling through these, okay horror films like Hellraiser and It, and just some of the others. This is the dessert. This is one of the Halloween films. I've been so waiting to talk about this film. God, Art the Clown might be my spirit animal. I love this guy. He is just tremendous. So I've been waiting on this one. You know what I mean? What's up, everybody? Hope you're doing well.
But yeah, in case you guys haven't figured out what movie we're talking about tonight, it is going to be, of course, Terrifier, which is a 2016 American slasher-splatter horror film. I think it's funny how they put splatter in there. Written and directed by Damien Leone. The film stars Jenna Kanell, Samantha Scaffidi, and in the title role, David Howard Thornton, along with Catherine Corcoran. The plot centers on partygoers Tara and her sister Victoria, who become targets of the enigmatic serial killer known only as Art the Clown on Halloween night. It's the first film centered around Art the Clown, the second feature-length movie to include the character after the anthology film All Hallows Eve. Leone wrote the film specifically as a means of showcasing the character of Art and his practical effects works, such as the controversial hacksaw death scene. We'll talk about that in a minute. Leone has expressed regret for leaving the protagonist underdeveloped. Leone filmed Terrifier at a low budget of just $35,000 and had an Indiegogo campaign, although it ultimately did not reach its goal. The film received mixed reviews, with praise directed towards special effects and portrayers of Kanell and Thornton. While writing was subject to criticism, the movie quickly became a cult film. A sequel, Terrifier 2, was released on October 6, 2022, while a third film is apparently filming right now and close to finishing principal photography, scheduled for a release at the end of 2024. And we actually got some news about that just in the last 24 hours or so that we'll talk to in a little bit. Let's dive right into this with my horror experts. I'll go to you first, Tex. What are some of your initial thoughts on Terrifier?
Oh my God, this is everything that makes horror great. Little to no plot getting in the way of practical effects, creative design, and just almost perfect kills. Like, I can't think of a film that does it any better in the last 20 years. I got to be honest with you. And I adore this franchise. I first found this, right around, I want to say All Hallows Eve is when I first found out about Art the Clown. So I was kind of early in on it. But my God, dude, I love this. This is Art the Clown is modern day Michael Myers. Bottom line, there's no argument.
Jeremy, what are some of your thoughts on Terrifier before we get into the spoilery stuff?
Well, we're not monetized yet, so I'll say holy fucking shit. I think that was my initial reaction. I'm glad Tex did in the last 20 years because I'm like, yeah, that means you snuck right under the 03 Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'm like, yeah, you goddamn right, because that was probably the next big thing that really kind of happened.
Yeah. Well, that was 03. This was a little bit later, but
yeah. But I know what you mean. Like it's something that, I mean, talk about coming out of nowhere and rising to the level that this horror movie entity became. Like, there's a reason why now there's 3 of these, and it starts in an anthology film. But like I said, there's a reason why this dude has 3 movies now, and like it's like there's like dark humor, there's like black comedy, but I mean like this is that like cranked up to 11, and it's like it made me kind of giggle, and I'm just like, but like uncomfortably, I'm like, God, why is he just like, you see him just staring at you from across a cafe, and he just like smiles real big. I'm like, oh, okay, you weird fucker. He goes and smears poop in the bathroom, so whatever. You have no. This guy just left. I mean, I'm all props to the guy playing Art the Clown, because holy shit, you want to talk about making a presence for this character? Like, yeah, there's good reason to talk about this. No, so I'm gonna say Jenna Kanell, and that's all I gotta say. I definitely don't have a type. Unfortunately, I saw the Bye Bye Man first. I saw her, and I was like, whoa, who are you? And this was the year before that, so I didn't see Terrifier until more recently, like a year or 2 ago, maybe. But yeah, that's my type, and you're going to be wearing that outfit the whole movie. I mean, I'm here for it. So.
Yeah, are you sitting down, Tex? Have you had a couple of drinks to calm your nerves?
Do you know me? Do you think I've had it? Do you think I've had a drink today? Well, just be honest with yourself for a minute. Here's my initial thoughts, and I'll break it down a little bit more. I promise you guys know me. My reviews are fairly objective compared to many. After all the build, all the stuff I've heard Tex say about how wonderful this movie is, and things like that, I watched the movie and I kind of thought to myself, this is kind of mid. It's kind of. I quit the channel.
I wasn't blown away by it. Now, don't get me wrong. The slasher elements were there. I mean, they were there in spades. But there were some things about the movie I was kind of like, it's an interesting look, and I kind of like the feel of it all. There's a lot of potential. But as far as like being the next great horror franchise, I was kind of like, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it at all. Now, I haven't seen now that's just after seeing one film. I might see the second one. I will watch it at some point soon. And then eventually the third one's going to come out. I'm actually probably going to go see the second one Wednesday night to like, you kind of want that poster now that I've seen what it's going to look like. That poster is kind of dope.
Oh my God.
But it's like, I kind of looked at it and I was like, there are good elements here, but it's not the movie that everybody said it was. The second coming of the next great horror. I was like, nah, sorry. I mean, I grew up on the 70s and 80s stuff. I was like, this one to me, while it doesn't even quite hit the shock level. It's got good things about it. There's got things about it I like. But did it blow me away like a lot of people said it was going to blow me away? It didn't even come close. But,
have you ever seen a woman hackshawed in half? No, you haven't.
I've seen lots of things in lots of horror films.
Whoa.
So now, while I'm not as jaded as someone like Tex, who all you watch is horror,
or even me,
you've seen the human body. You've seen people do terrible things to the human body that would make the devil cry in misery. But that's
what makes movies great. Is that not what y'all like?
But I have seen the human body mangled in many, many ways on celluloid. So even me, who doesn't primarily just watch horror films, I kind of looked at it. Was like, it's good. It's quality. Fun. Is it high quality? That's kind of pushing it. But
it's not meant to be high quality, though. That's the point.
We're not doing Shakespeare.
The way I've heard people beef this movie up, I thought there was like some dimension that Michael Myers had never reached and Jason Voorhees had never reached. I thought there was something about this film that no other horror filmmaker has ever done. And I was just like, I don't see that.
I get it.
Is there some fun vision here? Yes, there is. Do I like Damien Leone's work? And we'll talk about him a little more later on. Do I like his work? I do. And there's certainly some vision here. But was it something so much more than what I've gotten in horror? I'm like, not really. I one of the things I like about it is kind of a step back towards the classic 70s and 80s stuff, and they weren't trying to reinvent the wheel like they've tried to do with so many horror franchises. It stays in its lane and does what it's supposed to do pretty well. But did it do something to blow me away? Not really. I mean, even as I looked at it, I think I might even have it in my trivia somewhere. They tried to make Art the Clown not look like Pennywise just because they didn't want to be compared to Pennywise. I'm like, yeah, but
no, you don't want that.
Killer Clown is not something; it's a new concept. So whether you make him all black and white, or whether you have him dressed like Pennywise, or whether you just have a clown mask on a guy wearing a Texas tuxedo or a Canadian tuxedo wearing all denim, it's like it doesn't really matter. It's kind of in the story, but I don't know. Well, I'll try to flesh my thoughts out a little bit more as we go on. But let's start with the cast. And I mean, you can't really knock it. I mean, there's not much for the cast to do in this movie.
God, I love it.
There's not much for the cast to do in this movie except scream and run away from the killer until the sister that gets called in for the ride home, who unfortunately finds herself in a terrible situation, comes in and actually gives the cast a little bit of depth. I'll go to you first, Jeremy. What did you think of the cast of the film? Did it work for you, and did somebody stand out?
Well, obviously, other than Art the Clown, but I'm just gonna sing praises of Jenna Kanell all day. So that's just a given for me. I mean, yeah, like I said, it's not like it's anything, crazy. It's like it's a pretty straightforward plot. You got two girls coming home from, I'm assuming a Halloween party, and then you got this creepy fucko over there in a little cafe just kind of eyeballing you and shit. So, yeah, and I mean, I don't care how drunk you are. I wouldn't go up to that guy who looked like that, grab his face, and try to take a selfie. So, maybe not the best idea, but
yeah, I'm not going to lie. That was actually kind of a cool visual, him just sitting there, not even ordering food, just staring at you. I was just like, that's kind of intimidating. That's pretty good. I like that shot.
Do you know what I said? Like, if you keep that picture there for just a hot second, you know what I said about the last one with Uncle Frank in the attic? That right there is me. No, that right there is me every goddamn time some fucking customer asks, can I take a selfie with you? That is exactly what I do. And the bitch, what the fuck? Go away. So there's another visual representation of, me doing my little side gig. Yeah, like, I don't know. The guy who plays Art, he's all over the place. You can tell he's having fun. Because there's not a whole, like, huge cast of people in this movie, really. So, like I said, it's a pretty...
Yeah, they couldn't afford it.
I mean, like I said, just for what it's doing. And this is kind of like now I didn't, like, I watched the Conjuring movies, right? And then they're like, here, we're going to go and make something out of the Nun. Now we're going to make something out of Annabelle. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care about these, like, but like with this, I was like, okay, you kind of got my attention with this Art the Clown guy. I'm like, I'd be willing to work a step backwards and see, like, okay, so wait, where did this start? Where did it come from? And like, okay, so now we're branching off. And I'm like, see, this I enjoy it, and I would actually watch through to its conclusion, because I still need to see 2, and I'll definitely watch 3. So,
Tex, how about you? Cast of the movie. Again, you kind of get mostly what you like. I know the boobs and murder. Those two things, they definitely have quality in this movie for you.
This is
blood and murder.
Yeah. Here's the picture that I like when he's just staring at him, which I think is kind of fun. But go ahead, Tex. Tell us what you think of the cast of the film and who stands out to you.
There it is.
Sorry, I've got my girl Dawn on the brain since I just saw her, but God, I love that one.
That's the face that Tex makes every time he sees her in the movie.
I'm telling you, Art, I get it. I understand him. He's my dude. No, the cast in this film, this is, before you can talk cast, you have to kind of put it in the right scope. This was an independent film. This was not made out of a studio with SAG actors and big names. Oh, who's the big name we're going to attach to this? This is a 70s, 80s style grindhouse gore film that was made for basically no budget, and they got a bunch of actors to do it. The David Howard Thornton, he was the second man to play Arthur Clown. If you want to see the original guy, go watch All Hallows Eve or The Night Circle. What he's an actual clown in real life, and it shows in this role. The way that he's so. I mean, and I'm gonna steal a phrase here, but if from Looney Tunes, Bugs Bunny was a serial killer, he'd be Art the Clown. He's so joyful. He's so childlike in what he does. He's got the viciousness of Michael Myers with the supernatural side and the joking side of Freddy Krueger. He's got the brutal kills of Jason Voorhees. It's got everything that you want in a slasher. There's a reason why this dude has rose the ranks as early as he has. But no, David Howard Thornton as Art, my God, perfect. And on the flip side of that, Catherine Corcoran, the blonde girl that plays Dawn, and not just because she's a gorgeous piece of woman, but that is the prototype of a run. I'm in high heels and the guy's trying to chase me. I have to get away, but now I'm naked, tied upside down, getting cut in half hot dog style. Come on, it's perfect. This is not a movie. You don't have to think. You don't have to overthink. You just go enjoy it. This isn't Pearl Harbor or Saving Private Ryan, whatever it is. This is just schlocky, gruesome gore horror that is just so much fun. This would have been made and put in the VHS store in the 80s. This would have been at your drive-ins, your grindhouses. And the acting is exactly what it needs to be. The acting is fine. You can't really point anything out that's bad acting in this film. It's as good as it needs to be. It's a $35,000 movie. We're not making a Marvel film here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can't say I have any problem with the cast. Again, the two girls that are in it for most of the first half of the film, they did their job. They were the girls that were getting chased by the killer. They weren't going to get any good pieces of dialogue. We're not talking about Oscar scenes or anything. To me, the cast, with the exception of Art the Clown, is almost not necessary until the sister finally comes into the picture, like in the third act. When she rolls up there, I mean, they call her to get a ride because their car has the flat tire, which obviously Art flattened their tire. And then she shows up, and she's the only character with anything to do other than Art. I mean, the janitor guy who's there in the building does not really. He's fodder. I mean, he's going to die at some point.
And the
other guy,
weird lady too.
Yeah, the other guy that works with he shows up. I have no idea what the homeless lady was for.
I have no idea.
Cat lady. The crazy cat lady.
I feel like that she probably at one point had a purpose, but somewhere in the editing process or the writing process, they were just kind of like, we're going to cut this part down to just being in the movie. And I'm like, well, then why have her at all? So,
I thought she was supposed to be something like ominous, like she knew something otherworldly. I'm like,
at first I thought she was going to play a significant role in like the ending of it all. But then, but it's like the whole thing about Art getting the doll that she thinks is her baby and whatever. I'm like, why is that even in here? It kind of slowed down. It took away from what the point of the movie was. So I'm like, if Art's going to chase her and kill her separate from chasing and killing these other two chicks, fine, get to it. Why is he playing this side game with her? It took away from what I thought the concentration of the movie should have been.
Her role. I mean. Her role is bigger. You need to see Terrifier 2. And before you see Terrifier 2, go back and rewatch this, and especially where you find out where she names that baby. There's little details that were planted in this that come big later on in Terrifier 2. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody that doesn't know, but I will say she's minor in this, but her her relevancy grows the further you get. I will say that.
Okay.
I would certainly hope so, because she did nothing but take up
Yes.
valuable screen scenery in this movie.
Yes.
I didn't really understand why she was in there at all, but whatever. I mean, like the cat, like I said, art carries it Thornton carries it as Art the Clown. I mean, he is very good in the role for what this role is supposed to be. I like the fact that they tried to give him a little bit of a different look, but like I said earlier, idea of a murderous clown is not one that is exactly new. So just changing his look, I don't think was quite enough. I do like the fact that there was this sadistic smile on his face while he's doing everything he does. It shows just how broken he is. And I also find it very interesting that I was just reading a little bit about what's the guy's name? David Howard Thornton. He also said, I was reading about it. He said he appeared as the Joker, which I actually was thinking he might make a decent Joker, in the fan-made web series Nightwing Escalation, and later went on to appear in a small role in the TV show Gotham. So he's actually played the Joker before. It was in let's see.
And
in 6
do y'all remember that?
He played the Joker.
Do y'all remember that Grinch horror film that came out last year?
Yeah, he's the one that played the mean one.
He plays the Grinch in that as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, his performance is good. It's what the movie needed. It fits the film very well. There was nobody else in this movie that was necessary for anything other than just being a target to this guy until the sister gets there and she offers a little bit of resistance and gives him a little bit of a challenge. But like nobody else in this movie was really necessary. I mean, he may as well just walk through the street and start whacking people indiscriminately for all the.
Oh, that would have been great.
The two girls that are out drinking and partying that are at the costume party or whatever, they were there just to be in scantily clad clothing. They were there to be kind of the horror trope of the good-looking girl who gets killed, who gets chased by the crazy.
That's kind of the point, though. I mean, Damien Leone, he's a horror nerd, much like myself, but he has the skill and everything else to be able to create these things. And this is honoring the era of, I mean, literally everything you just said is what made Friday the 13th super duper successful. You have teens that don't matter, that they're just literal plot points to be killed later on. You've got a killer that's, kind of generic. I mean, Jason was a guy in a hockey mask. This guy's a clown. This guy takes from like I said earlier, the Myers, the Jasons, the whoever, and it's just reliving the slasher era where there's 8 people in this movie, and they're only there for a head count at the end. And I mean, Jason got 12 movies because of that. Halloween's had 13. So this, you make them for a little bit, and they make a lot of money. That's the point, right? So that's kind of what it's doing.
So what we can expect at some point is Terrifier 17. Art Takes Manhattan. That's one of the things that ended up kind of killing the franchise for the longest time. Is they were just like, we're going to do some outrageous shit because we don't know what else we can do. I agree. There's only so many times you can go to Crystal Lake and watch him kill a bunch of teenagers. So then it becomes Jason Takes Manhattan. Then it becomes Jason in Space, and then we do the Jason versus Freddy thing, which the concept is awesome. It still missed the thing a little bit, but yeah, they started doing gimmicky things to keep the franchise alive rather than giving it any kind of depth. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the point. These movies are.
Fuck it.
You're not. If you're looking for depth in a slasher film, go watch, Shakespeare. You're in the wrong area. Go to the other side of the movie theater. The romance comedy is over there. If you want to see people get killed in, glorious, disgusting ways, this is what we're here to party with. So, like I said, put yourself in the mindset of, 80s teen. I mean, you know what I'm talking about, but it is what it is.
But with the brutality of the fact of stuff we can do today, you know what I mean? So,
right, exactly. That's exactly right. Yes.
Even those movies probably pushed some boundaries then. So I'm like, yeah, but imagine now, and I'm like, this even still kind of went there a few times. I'm like, Jesus, man, this guy. I mean, that was what makes him so scary. You talked about him playing the Joker. That's what I was thinking too. Is I'm like, you have this creepy clown dude who I'm like, I'm kind of on the edge of my seat because I'm like, I don't know what the hell he's going to do next because he's so fucking unpredictable. He could just sit there and just giggle and laugh and just start doing that.
Right.
Or he could, carve my head out, make it a jack-o'-lantern. I don't fucking know. I don't know what kind of day he's having. And it makes it terrifying because you have no idea.
That was a cool shot, too. Yeah, I was going
to say that. Well, that right there.
And
he actually jack-o'-lanterned that guy's head. That was pretty cool.
And to kind of, give credence to, what Frank is saying on some point. Yes, is Art the Clown doing anything new? No. He's not doing anything original here. He's just taking something that works, something that people love. Literally, slashers I would argue, are the top in horror forever. He's just bringing the classics back, and like Jeremy said, he's doing it with a modern twist with new ways. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing new anyways. Even if you come up with a new concept, it's actually a remake of something that you saw 20 years ago and you just worked it around a little bit. He's just bringing back the glory days of the 80s, 70s slasher and just presenting it to you and not apologizing for it. The movie knows what it is and it's here for it. I love that.
I don't know if there is any explanation to it, but that's where I was kind of going. Is I'm like, we don't know who this guy is, what he's been through, or why he does this. He just he just does it. So I'm like, I don't know if the other movies explain that at all. But just having seen only this, and I played to see the other sequels, but I'm like, that's what makes him scary. Is like I said, you have no idea what he's gonna do, and I'm like, I don't know anything about him. So that complete fear of unknown is what kind of drives it. Because I'm like, Jesus, why? What makes you think, hey, I should string this woman up and saw her in half like a magic trick?
He is a supernatural character. Well,
yeah, I'm pretty sure. That ending was weird.
Okay. Art hasn't been clearly defined yet. When you first see him in the Ninth Circle, he starts out as this regular clown, and then he injects this woman with the, medicine or whatever, and then he has the bright yellow glowing eyes. And then when you next see him, they're literally in hell with like these evil-looking creatures, and the devil is there. So the first theory is, okay, he's a demon. He's a demon out of hell working for the devil. And that would make sense because the hero character in Terrifier 2 is wearing an angel costume. So angel versus demon. Then when you get more into this film, you get to see more of the human side. Now, when you get into Terrifier 2, they kind of explain it as they go. He started out as more of a demon, but he's kind of evolved as any character does. But they haven't given a clear narrative of, it's not like, okay, we know Michael Myers' story. Art's story has not been defined yet. They're still fleshing it out. And that's another thing that I love about this so much, is because we're getting to live in it. I can't go back in time and see the first Halloween all the way through, but I can with the Terrifier films. So I'm here for it.
Yeah, but I don't know. Again, maybe I'll see the second one and it'll put parts of this movie in perspective. But if this was the only movie I had to go on, I would say I'm a little iffy on the future. But let's talk about now the plot, or really the lack thereof. This movie doesn't really have much except for girls getting hacked up by
kill hot girls.
Guys.
That's all you gotta do.
I mean, look, at their core, that's kind of what all slasher movies are.
That's your motivation,
right?
I mean, and we talked about Jason already. Friday the 13th has a bit of a backstory that you kind of understand. I mean, Jason Voorhees drowned in the lake, yada yada yada. But this one is just. One of the things I thought was interesting is they didn't kind of put some of it in perspective to the very end. It's like, so you have this television interview happening with the girl you find out is the lone survivor of the attack that we see in the movie. You find out who it is, and it kind of helps you understand where everybody is when the movie starts and when the movie finishes. But it didn't really affect anything in between, other than the fact of just seeing it happen. I thought that was an interesting way of doing things. I don't know if they do that with the second movie or not, because obviously the first few minutes as we see Art kind of the typical scene of him throwing all of his murder implements into the bag, getting ready to go wreak havoc, which was fun little bit of tension building. I was getting a little excited watching him pack away all of his torture tools, but it kind of leaves you with the questions like, where is he going if this happens after the events of this movie? You know, I was looking. It was an interesting way of doing things, but I mean, the plot in and of itself was kind of sparse. I don't know, Jeremy, what do you think? Did the plot work for you, or did this movie just not really need one to begin with?
Like I said, it's simple in its execution and its executions. So, you like that? Well, murders and executions mostly. Little Patrick Bateman for you. No, yeah, it's.
I have to return some videotape.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a pretty straightforward, and also I just now kind of realized like I'm kind of removed from it a little bit because I'm like, I saw this like a year or two ago. I was like, this came out in 2016. Wasn't that also the height of like when fucking clowns were actually out in the world being dicks to people? So,
it was around that time. Yeah.
It was around 16 or 17. So this comes out, and then you got actual like fucking idiots out running around as clowns in the woods and shit, like asking to get shot. By the way, but when you think about this movie, I'm like, this could happen to somebody. I mean, you could have some creepy fucker in a clown, just stalking these girls on Halloween night, and you better hope he's not as depraved as this dude, because I mean, holy shit. Yeah, like I said, it works for simplicity, and it's just, if you want some blood and guts and a smile to go with it, then yeah, that's that's what you're getting. Like, not doing high art, and we're not taking it to the Oscars. I'm just saying, it was a fun time and it was entertaining for me.
Yeah, Tex, how about you? I mean, plot, again, not much of it for this movie. I guess maybe it didn't need any for what it ultimately was. What did you think of the plot of the movie? Did it work for you?
Are you kidding? Does it work for me? All of my favorite films revolve around this basic plot structure here. Of course it works for me. This is like, if you were to tell me, hey, all films going forward will have this plot, okay, go ahead and take my money ahead of time. But no, Jeremy's right. It's a simple, execution of a plot that here's our bad guy. Here's our final girls. You don't really know which one it's going to be. I mean, of course, going into it, you think it's going to be Tara right there, the one that
right.
Jeremy's in love with. But it's a very simple plot. But here's the thing. On your first watch, it's a very simple plot. But if you go back and you watch from the Ninth Circle going forward, there's little details in here. And like I said, I won't spoil anything because I know y'all haven't watched them yet, but look for the yellow eyes, whether it's on Art or on the victims. The cat lady and the details of her child. There's a child in Terrifier 2 that you need to pay attention to. So what Damien Leone has done here, he's giving you the most simple, basic boilerplate of a plot for his independent film that he made. But he was smart enough to insert these little Easter eggs that he either put in before or something that's going to come in the future. And this is why this film has staying power, is because, you can go on any streaming service and find 100 random slasher movies with generic killer. This film could very easily be in one of those. But what makes it different is it's just that much better than all of those others. That's why it's a cult favorite. That's why for the horror hounds like myself, we latch onto this film as this is an iconic franchise. I will argue with anybody any day of the week, because just from the plot, what he's able to deliver here is amazing. He gives you nothing, but yet somehow it's just still in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for me, again, the plot a little thin, but
yeah.
But that's one of the fun things about making it when you're a young filmmaker starting out, at least as I've read anyway. When you're a young filmmaker starting out, they always say that horror is a good genre to cut your teeth on if you're trying to make your first film, because
sure.
It's a lot easier to hide your imperfections as a writer and as a director in horror. That's what they say. I don't always agree with that, because we've seen great horror films, Halloween, the Friday the 13th, things like that. So I think that and at the time when these were created, the people that made those films were relatively young filmmakers. They were not big names. They would go on to be big names. The Carpenters and all those would go on to be big names. At the time, they weren't. But yeah, I mean, just giving you the basic stuff that you need for a horror movie: the gore, the chase scenes, the girl cowering in the corner while the guy's looking around for her, that kind of thing. A couple little twists at the end that kind of screw around with you. I mean, those are the basic tropes of at worst a mediocre horror movie. I mean, of the movies that you walk out of the theater saying, I don't want that 2 hours of my life back, but it's not the best horror movie I've ever seen, which is kind of what I thought about it. But yeah, I mean, it was a decent enough plot. Like, again, I think the movie itself got better when her sister got there and actually gave some pushback to Art, because Art is really in control of everybody that he comes in contact with for the entire movie until she gets there. She's the only. I think it's fun when the antagonist has a protagonist to push back. When the antagonist is just there going through all his crazy shit and doing what he's doing, I'm like, okay, but the fun thing is when somebody hits the killer that's chasing them over the head of the flower pot and gets away for a minute. When them fighting back is kind of what makes it fun. It's like, oh, good. I don't want my prey to just give up. I want my prey to fight me a little bit so that it's worth it when I scarf it down. It's that kind of thing. And it's the same way for me as a viewer. I like to see the heroine fight against the killer, to an extent, before the killer finally gets her. Because I watch these movies because I want the killer to win in the end. Let's face it. But yeah.
Well, if that's what you want, then I think you're really going to dig Terrifier 2. It's 2.5 hours long, and it's a long film. But all of that plot development of a protagonist that is on equal footing with Art, you get that in that movie with Sienna. Sienna is his version of Sydney or Laurie Strode or whatever. Like I said, I won't get into too much, but if you want more plot development of this story, I think you'll dig Terrifier 2 then, because you get the same level of blood, violence, and gore, but you get that other half. So I would, stay tuned for that.
I think the reason why I liked this so much is also because, like I said earlier, it's like you could, well, I wouldn't say easily and hopefully not easily, but you could probably find yourself in this situation. You know what I mean? Like, this is something that probably could happen to somebody. And I was thinking, like, this is some Texas Chainsaw shit. Like, that could happen to you. You don't know, it's some backwoods, nowhere, bumfuck Texas. There's some guys chopping people up with chainsaws and eating them. I'm like, yeah, you don't know. Right. You drive by every day. You don't know what's going on in that house.
Not even backwoods these days. You got the shit going on in Maine right now. You got,
There's no way that if you come to my house, you won't end up in the basement. You never know. Anything could happen. It is what it is.
That's what I mean. Every day, there's shit in the middle of the city where people are doing some crazy shit. So,
but that's the thing. It's like, this was kind of in public, so it's like, it's kind of wild. I mean, yeah, I was talking, mid 1970s Texas. I'm like, oh yeah, no one's gonna come across you, and that's what's kind of terrifying about that. But like, yeah, this is in the middle. There's public places. There's people. I mean, yeah, he Jack Leonard the dude, but like, you know what I mean? It's crazy that he still, managed to make this shit happen where it did, even though you got a rundown building, but still, someone's gonna see this, and it's wild to see him, like you said, take control of all this and do what he does best. But it still had that, and like this movie did feel like dingy and kind of dirty, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It felt like gritty and just, because you could tell it's like, this is something that is a low budget. We're just doing this, and it becomes, like you said, you make it for not a lot of money, and then you get a lot of money out of it. So, it kind of had that same vibe to me as like the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So maybe that's where I was coming from with this movie.
I will put this in your brain, though, Frank. Think about 1978 Halloween, the original. Take all of your knowledge about everything else that you know about Michael Myers and the franchise and everything else. What do you really have? You have a story about a killer who kills his sister at 6 years old. Then you flash forward 15 years. He escapes from the mental asylum. His doctor is chasing him. He doesn't even call him a human. And he kills a bunch of people. And by the end of it, poof, he's gone. So structure-wise, this is what they're going back to. Terrifier is the modern-day equivalent of Halloween. I guarantee you, if there were review podcasts in 1978, they would have said the same thing about Halloween as you are about Terrifier right now. And look at the classic that became.
Some dude in a mask.
Some people kind of did, in all fairness, but I mean,
I think they did, yeah.
Right.
But the way I think that Halloween is different, though, is that they gave the character Michael Myers some structure. He had problems as a youth. Some things happened, things like that. So they gave him the scaffolding of a character background. You didn't do that with Art the Clown. Right now, he's just here and he's evil. And I'll make this comparison like the Joker. Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that makes the Joker. I've said it 100 times. It makes the Joker scary is you don't have. Well,
no idea.
They've given him backgrounds in various iterations, but I mean, one of the cool things.
All it takes is one bad day.
But I mean, this one you've not even given him even the character structure that you've given the Joker. It's like the Joker at least has Batman to play off of. There's an arch villain and a hero back and forth that goes on that gives him a different meaning and a little more depth. Whereas Art the Clown is just here. And while I kind of dig the fact that you don't know anything about him and it kind of makes him more mysterious, there is part of me that thinks it would work better in this setting for this particular character if there was a little bit more depth to him. Now again, I haven't seen the second movie. Maybe the second movie gives him a little more. If it's 2 hours and some odd minutes, I'm hoping they would give him some character development and kind of flesh him out.
There's lots of development in that one.
Yeah, okay. and maybe, like I said, maybe that will give me a different look. Maybe I can look back at the first movie and be like, okay, now this kind of makes a little more sense. Now I kind of understand that I have a different perspective. I'm hoping that's what I get out of the second one when I get a chance to watch it next week. But yeah, you don't really. But like I said, in Halloween 77 or 74, when did the first one come out? 78.
78.
In the first Halloween film in 78. You get a little bit of that right from the jump. So it's not just like Michael is evil for the sake of being evil. There's something broke in him when he's young. You find all these things about him that kind of give you the framework of what Michael is through the entire run of the franchise.
I mean, they do say he is.
I could argue that
the embodiment of evil.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
They retcon a lot of things in that franchise as they move forward, though. I
mean, no. I'm not talking about retcons.
Which timeline are you talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the 15 different timelines of Halloween.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Halloween 78. You see Michael Myers at 6 years old, puts his clown mask on. He goes in, kills his sister. Michael, they rip the mask off of his face. And then the next time we see him, he's climbing over the hood of the nurse's car to steal it and go, to Haddonfield. We don't know why he's doing it. We don't know anything about him. And the only character development you get is when Dr. Loomis is telling, I tried to keep him locked up. He's the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. The only character development you're getting is, he's evil. He's not a man. He's it. He's the boogeyman, whatever. You don't get any character development. We have it now because we have 13 movies. But in 78, he was a guy in a Shatner mask with a kitchen knife, so it is what it is.
Like I said, maybe the second movie will give me a different perspective on the first one. Because that's often how it happens when you have a franchise of movies. And sometimes as you go forward, they use other movies to flesh out things and make something happen. Saw as one of the franchises, I think it does that. You start to understand a little bit more about Jigsaw as you go farther and farther into the movies. Whereas in the first film, you don't even really have a name. He shows up in the last 5 seconds. He says game over, slams the door, and that's all you really get of the killer. It puts
10 more
that
fucking movies to get there, but yeah.
Forward. True.
We did just say, we finally got a movie about him, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, let's talk about the one thing I'm sure we're all going to agree on is the effects. I mean, there's no knocking the blood and gore of this. I mean, I can't. Yeah. Even if I wanted to, I don't think I'd be able to do it. The scene of sawing the girl in half. I mean, that right there that's classic horror visual right there that you can't go wrong with. I'll go to you first, Tex. I mean, what do you think of the effects? How did it work for you?
Maybe. I'm trying to be somewhat biased on this film, but it's really hard because this is a top 10 film for me. I'm just in all honesty. But the gore effects, the practical effects that Damien Leone was able to do in this film, even the shots where where it's a prosthetic head, like the scene where like you're showing right here, where he turns the pizzeria owner into a jack-o'-lantern, which is another Michael Myers call out, or probably the best kill of this century, where he's sawing Dawn in half, and of course they start out with the real actress upside down, and then rips her underwear off, and then starts cutting, and that's when you get to see the fake prosthetic that Damien Leone himself did, because he's an effects artist. That's how he started. But even knowing that's a prosthetic dummy, it looks great. Like whenever he's sawing, and I love the part where he gets to the stomach and you see all the entrails fall out and hit the ground. Like you can hear like that splat. It's where it hits the floor. It's like wow, they really paid attention to these things. When the TV announcer in the beginning of the film is getting her face clawed out and her eyes pulled out, you can see the prosthetics, but it works. And it proves that practical will forever beat CGI. CGI only needs to be used to touch up and make things better, not be that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Jeremy, what about you? Special effects obviously were I mean, this is Damien Leone's kind of wheelhouse here. What do you think of the effects?
Yeah, just like Tex said, I mean, it's like it's like it's good enough that not say good enough. Some of them are pretty good, but enough to where you get the point. Like, I mean, yeah, that's not a real body being sawed in half. It's not. He didn't really jack-o'-lantern that guy's head, but it's like what's going on and the way it's shot and the way it's brought up to you. You get the situation of what's happening, and honestly, it's like that is a pretty. I mean, we've seen some even in Saw, like right. We saw the girl get her head decapitated, and that was the goofiest looking shit I've ever seen. I'm like, it looks so unnatural. The body doesn't fall like that, and I'm like, Jesus, we're how many movies in, and we're like in the 2010s now, and you can't even do like a body falling. I don't know.
Jeremy's like, I've heard of plenty of people. Bodies just don't fall like that.
I'm just saying, like, you could have easily. I mean, even if it was a fake body, you could have easily rigged something up to it looked like the razor and just pulled it and let it just drop. I don't know. Because like your body doesn't just like stop, hesitate, your head rolls, then your body rolls down. Like, what the fuck was that? Anyway. But I would say, yeah, that body hanging upside down was pretty good. And also my little tidbit to anybody doing stuff like that is blood is your best friend. Blood will make everything.
Oh, yeah.
You can get away with more. Like we said, like that one, what was it? The person got stabbed. Like, we don't care. Whatever. Stab, bleed, you die. I'm like, no one cares. You just want to see the blood come out, and you get the point. You get the effect of it. And it was a Hellraiser. We're just like, yeah, you get stabbed, and that's it. It's just more fun that way. So it works. And that's the thing, is being creative, because like we were talking about with these, since there's 137 Jason movies, like, yeah, he's got to have a special kill for every movie. Like, there's got to be something creative that, like, how many times have we killed a human being in these movies, and in what ways? So you got to have fun with it. So that was the other thing, is seeing. I mean, yeah, I haven't seen some of the shit that he did in this movie before, so yeah, I will always agree too. I'm like, CGI is great and it has its place for certain things, but like you can't beat a practical thing. So it's more fun that way.
Yeah, practical effects in horror need to always be a thing. That's we were talking. I know a while back we were talking about Rick Baker, and Rick Baker was just like, you can do pretty much what I do with computers now, and I'm like, I disagree. I don't think you can. I mean, look at some of the stuff that Rick Baker did over his career, the transformation sequence in American Werewolf in London, the stuff, the zombies and the music video Thriller, things like that. CGI cannot give you a real textured look the way that practical effects can. So
it's actual art, man.
Yeah. So one of the things,
it's cheaper too.
Yeah, one of the things I like about the horror genre is there's always going to be some level of practical effects that are going to be absolutely necessary for that genre to keep going. Because, like I said, CGI is great for ease, and maybe one person can do a lot of different shots. But I would rather have a team run by a guy like Rick Baker or something like that, or one of these other great names. Who's the one guy?
Greg Nicotero.
Nicotero.
Greg Nicotero, Wayne Toth, Tom Savini.
Tom Savini was the name I was thinking of. I'm a big Tom Savini fan too. Yeah. But it's like there's always going to be a need for these guys so that you can have somebody in full prosthetics and stuff with that texture. The lighting hits them different when it's real than it does on CGI.
Because your eye knows what's real and what's not.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right.
You couldn't have put this dude in like the stuff with the dots all over his face and then CGI'd the clown mask over him like this. It wouldn't have looked right. The paint, the way his painted face will move.
We don't talk about that mask.
Yeah, the way his painted face.
Which version of it? There's like 5 in that film.
Yeah.
I meant that god awful CG one where you just looks over and I'm like, what the fuck? I got a PS1 game all of a sudden. Someone put their video game scene in this movie. What the hell is that? I just kind of laughed at it. I'm like, that's not scary. That's just funny.
But let's talk for a minute about Damien Leone. I mean, I'll go to you first, Tex. Do you think that he could be? I mean, we talked the last couple of days about some of these big names, the Carpenters, the Romeros, guys like that, the Guillermo del Toro, guys that have been huge in the horror genre for a long time. These guys are getting old and aging out. There's got to be a new group of guys, a younger group of guys that carry horror into the future. Guys like Jason Blum, things like that. Guys that try to carry this in the future. Is Damien Leone one of the guys that you think could be one of those great long-time future horror icons?
I'm going to say a statement, and I believe every word of this, and I'm not being facetious at all. I firmly believe Damien Leone is this generation's John Carpenter. I think we will look back in however many years, and he will be on the same level. He's not on the level of Carpenter, Craven, or Tobe Hooper or anybody else. He's on the way. I mean, I saw reports today. Damien Leone is trying to get to he wants to make a Friday the 13th film. He's pushing hard for that. Could you imagine what he could do with Jason? Given his own design and his creativity with the kills, I think that'd be amazing. Damien Leone, think about it. John Carpenter, he did what? Assault on Precinct 13 and Dark Star before he did Halloween. And then the rest of his career, he did some other things, but people always went back to Halloween. Damien Leone, he's going to go on from Terrifier and do other things as well. But this franchise is here to stay. It doesn't have the longevity that Friday or Halloween or Texas Chainsaw does, but it's on that same level. It's meteoric rise in the horror world and the slasher world. Y'all know as well as I do. You can quickly become a legend if you come up with a really good film, and I know you're not the biggest fan of this one, Frank, but the horror world has pushed this to the mountaintop, and this one's not going anywhere. I think this is the next, I hope we get Terrifier 15, Art Goes to Space. I'll be there for that one. Anytime Terrifier's in the box office, I'm going to be there. This is our generation's Halloween. I think, and like I said, I firmly believe every word of that. So
you might have a problem, though, with having a killer clown in space. I think we did that once.
They were from outer space.
They were from.
Yeah.
They were from. You know what I'm saying?
There's your crossover. They just whoop right by each other in space. And it's like, oh, yeah, that'd be kind of fun.
They look out the window and Art's just like.
Oh, that'd be fucking great.
Oh, could you imagine Art the Clown with that cotton candy gun? Oh, that'd be amazing. I need to see that.
We had to give him a bag of popcorn and a fucking cotton candy gun and like go for it, buddy. Like, oh my god, he'd have so much fucking fun with that.
That'd be great, dude.
Yeah, I did laugh.
I love that.
I did laugh quite a bit when the one girl's trying to get away and Art's just kind of staring and he goes, That's pretty funny. that was kind of that one real fun moment of levity that I think every horror film needs. Because one of the great things about, I forget which Friday the 13th it was. Ultimately I thought it was a bit too comedic. It was the second or third one, I think. There was this one goofy guy running around the woods playing paintball or whatever, and I was just like, I'm laughing, but this scene is wildly out of place for this film. Some guy with
that's part 6. That's part 6.
Yeah. But but yeah, I mean, Jeremy, what do you think? I mean, Damien Leone, how do you think he's going to impact the future of horror?
Well, I mean, I agree. If this, since love it or hate it, this has gotten to the point it has. So, I mean, he's got some good footing at least. So if this is where he can go with something original, I mean, imagine like we said with his creativity, where he could take this. So, I'll be interested to see what he does in the future. I mean, if he does, because I know we always sit here and we talk about like, man, there's nothing original anymore. I'm like, yeah, there's some things. I mean, there's this. Now we have Art the Clown. You know what I mean? Like, you can do it and we can make interesting stuff. Now, I'm not gonna be mad like Tex was saying. I'm like, if he wants to make a Friday the 13th, I'm like, cool. That's something that we do know and we expect something out of. But like, the exciting part is it being in this guy's hands. We're like, oh, okay, this could be wild. Because like when you talk about creative kills, like I said, the two big ones would be Freddy and Jason, because they do some wild shit to kill people. So that wouldn't be a bad avenue to go down, because like it's kind of I won't say safe, but it's like I said, it's something that we know. We all know Friday the 13th, so it wouldn't hurt to do something like that. And again, he could do whatever whatever original thing he wants to do next. I mean, as long as you keep it
to kind of add off of that, though, what makes Terrifier so interesting? It's not like Halloween, that's basically owned by Miramax now for both TV and movies. It's not. Damien Leone has full control over Art the Clown and Terrifier. Technically, it's still an independent production. Whenever they made Terrifier 2, they got backing from Bloody Disgusting and Screambox. I mean, they basically funded the movie. So there was no major studio behind this stuff. So it's, just like Texas Chainsaw was. That was another independent film. Look at what that turned into. So, this isn't...
Same thing.
Right. This is an independent product that has, as long as Damien Leone doesn't sell this to, Blumhouse or A24 or whoever, and God hope I hope he doesn't. I hope Art the Clown stays independent, because it makes him different. He doesn't have to adhere to politically correct standards and everything else like all these other. You're never going to get a social commentary in a Art the Clown film. That's what makes this guy different.
Hashtag No Lives Matter.
Exactly. He kills fair and equally. He wants everybody. He even kills himself. Okay, so you can't even judge him for that. So it is what it is.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Yeah. I'll talk about that ending though. That was weird.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can go into that in a second. But one of the things that I kind of rolled my eyes at a little bit. I was like, really? This is one of the things that really kind of hurt his image in my eyes. When Jason Voorhees was getting, when one of the final girls or somebody was actually putting up a fight, he just won with brute strength. Same thing with, Freddy's a little different. I mean, he's a little more hot.
He's a dream demon. It's different.
He's a dream demon. Same thing, Michael Myers. It was like, no matter how fast Laurie Strode runs, Michael Myers is just going to walk at a slow, brisk pace, and he's always right there. This guy gets into a little bit of trouble and he reaches for a gun. I'm like, you fucking cheater. I was like,
yeah, but come on.
Do it the way that Michael would have done it. Fight that bitch. I was like,
to be fair, that whole time, but it's like he could have done that at any time. It's like he just likes to fuck around. Like,
I know, but all the great serial killers.
I thought that was pretty fucking funny. He just pulled out a gun and shot her. I'm like, okay, but that was pretty great.
Yeah, all the great horror movie slasher killer guys. I mean, they wouldn't have resorted to a gun. But it's like, it was. Now, at first, I
didn't want to have to do this, goddammit, but here we are.
At first, I kind of thought they were going for like one of those moments like Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, where the guy swinging the swords around, he just grabs a gun, shoots him, and turns and walks away. Right. But I mean, totally different totally different kind of makeup of where we're at in this movie compared to that one. I mean, it worked when Harrison Ford did it, but with like him, I'm like, you got a bag full of things. You're stronger than this chick, and you got to go to the gun. I'm like, come on, you're not exactly.
I think he was just sick of her shit. Like, all right, you're done. I'm done playing with you now.
art is what Damien Leone decided to do with Art the Clown, I think, is genius. He took the model of what works before. Look at Michael, look at Jason. They're big, they're strong, they're all the things. Art the Clown is a tiny little dude. He might be 5'9", maybe 180 pounds. He's not a monster behemoth. And what the other thing that I like about him, he doesn't adhere to any rules. He's he goes against the grain. He'll pick up a knife. He'll pick up a bunch of tiny little blades, drill holes in them, and make a rope whip out of them. He'll pull a 45 out of his ankle. He'll use any weapon necessary. He is just a product killer of, oh, hey, this looks sharp. I'll beat you in the head with it. That's what I like about it. It's chaos on its biggest level. Anything this guy's around, he can turn into a weapon. In Terrifier 2, he takes a table leg with nails in it as a weapon. I mean, come on. Anything is available for this guy. So he's kind of like Grand Theft Auto. He just picks up weapons as he goes. That's kind of his charm, what I mean? I think it works.
I don't know. I kind of thought to myself, because now I get it, the dark-haired girl maybe not putting up much of a fight, but it's like the blonde girl. I mean, maybe she doesn't know how to throw hands. I'm willing to bet she's probably never been in a real fight in her life that didn't involve hair pulling and slapping with some other cheerleader. But it's like she was certainly athletic enough, so I kind of saw it against her. But the dark-haired girl, I'm like, nah, she's not putting up a fight against almost anybody.
I'm like, she's like 5'4", like 140 pounds. Yeah. She's not
doing
shit. I mean, like, that's her right there. So
the only thing she's fighting is a weight problem because she pukes up every meal that she eats. All right, that's the only fight that she's winning, but it is what it is. So.
Yeah, I was just like, come on, man, you're Art the Clown. You're the psychotic killer who may or may not be mentally, well, I guess is certainly mentally broken somehow. But I mean, it's like, come on, you really need to go to the gun. It seemed like it was cheating to me. Now in the end, like. After thinking about it, after watching the movie, I kind of took a little bit of Tex's take towards it. I was like, well, he's just a crazy guy. He's just killing people with whatever he can find.
Right.
At the same time, I'm like, if you really want to be up there with the Michael Myers and the Jasons and the Freddys, you're not going for the gun for the easy kill. You're getting in close and you're doing some stuff. But I mean, I don't know. To me, I was just like, I don't want to see my crazy killer in a slasher film going to guns. That's not really. If I want gunplay, I'll go to an action movie. I'll go watch The Expendables. I'll go watch any of the Arnold Schwarzenegger films from the 80s or anything.
Right.
But I mean, it's like I was like, the gun really? It seems like cheating. But but me personally, I think Damien Leone's got an interesting vision, and I want to see that vision grow. Not necessarily in budgets. I'd like to see him get a little more budget. I'd like to see somebody throw $25 million at him and say, okay, make me a really cool horror movie. Take a good year and a half to write it out, plan out your story. Whether it's another Art the Clown story or whether it hits something completely original that he does, or maybe he even gets a hold of Jason Voorhees and he can reboot Friday the 13th. Throw $25 million at this guy and be like, take some time to really craft me an awesome story with an awesome killer and characters that I actually care if they're going to die or not, and give me a good like hour and 45 or 2 hours that I'm going to enjoy in the theater. I think he can do that. Again, this is the only Terrifier film I've seen thus far. I will eventually see them all. I'll go back and do the original stuff, and maybe that'll help my view of this particular film. But I do think he's got a particular vision, and I'd like to see that vision grow. I think it's young. I think it's not quite yet fully formed. I think while his special effects talents are not really in question, putting a story together and putting makeup on a guy and making him look like a scary clown and a dissected blonde and whatever, those are very different things. So I want to see him grow more as a storyteller to go along with his good special effects stuff, because that kind of stuff makes great horror movies. I mean, if you think about so one of the movies we've done recently was The Exorcist. Not a great deal of gore the way that this movie has gore. Amazing story, amazing characters. Could you imagine if that movie had a little more gore? Well, The Exorcist True Believer had a little more. But I mean, that's not really what the movie was about. It was a different kind of horror. But I mean, if you put that kind of story it with some really great gore, I think that would be the kind of movie that everybody was telling me this was. I think that would be really awesome. I think that'd be a really interesting film to watch. I think that would be one of the better horror films in the last 20 years, if you could give me that. But I want to see him grow. I want to see him expand. I want to see his storytelling grow to match the special effects. Is he the future of horror? I don't know. I mean, who knows? Maybe Jeremy decides to make a horror film tomorrow and he makes one that's really awesome. And I think he's the future of horror. I don't know. I want people to go out there and just put their vision on camera and see what you got. Because you've got, when it comes to horror, especially because the horror section of film fandom can be so fickle because they are very specific about what they like, Tex being the prime example. If you can satisfy them, if they can walk out of the theater satisfied, you've kind of got it made. Because people who don't like horror films are never going to like horror films. It doesn't matter if you give them the Dr. Zhivago horror films. It won't matter. They're probably not going to dig it anyway because the visuals don't really do it for them. But for people like us who want to like them, who go to these movies excited to see things and want to see them be successful, if you can put together something like that, and I think he's got potential. If you can put together something like that, I think you could very easily be the next John Carpenter, the next, whatever, the next, whatever. So I think he could be. I want to see him grow more. How old is this guy anyway? I don't think he's old.
I think he's late 30s. He's not an older guy, like mid to late 30s.
It doesn't even really say how old he is. It's just got his career and nothing else. But yeah, he doesn't look like he's particularly old. So I would imagine he's under 40. So he's got time to make movies. Yeah, he's got time to really hone his craft and make some cool movies. One of the things I do want to see him do is I want to see him go away from Terrifier and do other stuff. I don't like it when guys get buried into one franchise character. One of the reasons I think that the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight trilogy worked really well is that Christopher Nolan made sure that between Dark Knight movies, he did something else to get away from it. He said, I didn't want to be just buried with Batman and Bruce Wayne and Dark Knight and all this stuff. He said, I didn't want to be buried in that world for a solid 10 years. I wanted to do this Batman film, then go and do this film, maybe this smaller film, and then go back with fresher eyes, different perspective, and put together a really good film instead of just kind of getting lost in the minutia of that universe. So that's what I want to see Damien Leone do, is I want to see him kind of get away from it and do other things, as well as doing this. I think that would help him grow a lot as a filmmaker. So is he the future? I don't know. We'll see. He's got promise. I'll give him this much. He's got a lot of promise. I'm interested to see where his career is going to go. But I got to see him do some different things first. Let's move on. As I was saying earlier, they are filming a third one right now. I don't know. Again, I have not seen part 2 yet, so I don't know what part 3 might look like. But Tex, I know you specifically have seen everything that Art the Clown has had to offer to this point. What are some of your expectations for the third film? Without going into any spoilers right now for those who haven't seen. What are some of your expectations for this third film?
Yeah, listen, I won't spoil anything. Obviously, the trailer for Terrifier 3 will be showed November 1st. Regal Cinemas or wherever. Check your local listings. I would recommend everybody go see it. As far as what we see going forward, there's a few things I want to see. One, this is a problem that Terrifier 2 had. How do you top the upside down handsaw kill? That's like high level, gore effects and everything else. Now, there is a kill in Terrifier 2 that is on the same footing. So Damien Leone's going to have to find a way. Is it possible to surpass that kill? Maybe, but it's going to be hard. He at least needs to stay at the level of gore where he is. Terrifier 2 also builds on the story, builds on the lore, fleshes out the Miles County Clown, which is what they call Art. You get a little more backstory. You get a little more insight to who he is. And like I said, Sienna is his final girl. I'm sure she'll be back. She was amazing in that film. I want to see more of her and her brother. I need to know I need clarification on art because is he a dream demon? Is he a does he work for Satan himself, like in the Ninth Circle? Is he just a crazy clown that's kind of supernatural? I need clarification on who this guy is. Don't give it all away. Don't, just give me the sizzle, not the steak. Just kind of tease me with it. Don't just flesh it all out. The other thing that I hope for, obviously, this is a Christmas film. I mean, it was, and this is not a spoiler, this was put out on Twitter. I want to see some very creative Christmas kills. Obviously, if you look at the poster, I shared it in the group. I don't know if you want to show it or not. But if we get to see art with an axe with Santa Claus' face draped around his neck like a necklace, I need to see that in real life. I really
want that to actually be in the movie. I
need to see that scene live action on screen. I want to see how he goes full on, takes his chainsaw, cuts the guy's face off, and wears it like a necklace. Like I said, keep the gore, keep the violence up it if possible. Continue the narrative of Sienna, and I'm having to hold back on certain things because y'all haven't seen Terrifier 2, but they really get into some okay, I can use this example. So how Michael Myers is tied to Laurie Strode, how they're kind of each side of a coin, they're always connected, right? When you see Terrifier 2 and Sienna, they have that relationship. I'm not saying they're brother sister because they're not, but there's a connection there. So, like I said, when you get into Terrifier 2, they really flesh out the story more. I want to see more of that and just kind of make it bigger, but keep the heart of the Grindhouse film that they have here. So it's a big task. I mean, it really is.
I love this poster. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, look at that, dude! Cool. That's incredible. that looks amazing.
Chainsaw bullshit right there. That's what's going on.
Yeah,
I love it.
I really do. Love this poster. I think it's a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to maybe getting it on the wall.
I hope he wears that face and then it falls down. That's why it's like draped around his neck or something. I want to see a shout out to
somebody's fucking chimney with that shit on.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's there's potential with this. It's it would have been easy to do another because he up to this point he's been a Halloween killer. They're kind of breaking the mold and now they're making a Christmas movie. So guess what I'm going to be watching on Christmas Day? It ain't going to be freaking It's a Wonderful Life. I'm watching Terrifier 3, buddy. So that's going to be great. But it's going to be good.
Yeah, quick story. I was trying to get to the mystery movie at the Regal Monday night because they have the Monday night mystery movie at 7:00 every Monday. The reason I wanted to go this Monday is that's the story. Is I was hoping to go because I thought it might be Five Nights at Freddy's because every now and again they'll throw a big movie out there a couple days early just to get the buzz up. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to go this week because I thought I might be able to see Five Nights at Freddy's a little earlier. It ended up being a movie called A Wonderful Knife. It was like some B-rate schlocky.
Wonderful Knife.
A Wonderful Knife.
Is that a play on It's a Wonderful Life?
I guess.
I've heard that name.
But I don't know anything about it. The poster that I saw, because Regal had tweeted out like later that night or the next day what the movie was the day before, and it was basically like a snow globe with somebody putting a knife through it, and it looked very Christmassy. It didn't look like a horror.
I've seen that picture on Twitter before. I've seen that before.
Oh, hold on. I think Google's listening to me. All I typed in is It's a Wonderful Life 2022 film. Thank you. Little FBI agent in there is listening to me.
Get out of my head, Zuckerberg. Get out of my head.
I'm sorry, the CIA agent in there listening.
Right. I'd like a pepperoni pizza delivered to my house for free for listening. Thank you. You know where I live. Yeah.
But yeah, I saw that. I was hoping it would
Justin Long.
No, does it really? I didn't even bother looking at the cast list.
Justin Long, Joe McHale. So I mean, it's got some people we know.
Justin Long has died in every horror movie he's ever been in, from Drag Me to Hell to Jeepers Creepers to.
He didn't die in Tusk. He didn't die in Tusk. He didn't die.
Oh, okay. He didn't die, but he's better off dead. I think we can all agree he's better off.
Well, we
dead.
haven't gotten a sequel yet. I mean, Kevin Smith has been saying for a long time that he'd do a sequel, but we haven't gotten a sequel yet.
Fucking Walrus, yes, too, baby. Let's go.
Walrus, yes.
Walrus, yes, baby.
I'd rather have a sequel to Red State than Tusk if we're doing Kevin Smith.
Well, I mean, but the dude's dead now.
I liked Red State. Yeah, I did.
The guy who was also the. Yeah, I wonder how you'd make the sequel because Mike, what's his name? Michael.
The Preacher?
Yeah, the old guy.
Oh yeah, I can't remember his name, but I know who you're talking about. Yeah, he was the preacher in that movie. Yeah, Red State's an excellent film. I'm not a big Kevin Smith guy. I like a couple of his stuff, but Red State is a fun movie to watch. I really enjoy that.
Yeah, Scott Mosier.
That may be the next series that we do or something like that. Might be our next Monday night thing. Is we're just going to run through all the Kevin Smith movies, starting from Clerks, going all the way through, baby.
Oh God, I am fucking here for that. Michael Parks, sorry.
I will say,
yeah,
I prefer fat Kevin Smith to woke skinny Kevin Smith because once he lost all the weight and went to Hollywood, he kind of ruined his career, in my opinion. But it is what it is. So
Hollywood before he was skinny though. So I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, he's always been Kevin Smith.
It is what it is.
Hey man, I got to meet him and Jay in the same fucking day, so that was goddamn highlight of my life.
I love Mallrats though. Mallrats is another tremendous. God, I love that movie.
Mallrats is a classic.
Oh yeah,
it is on the escalator again.
Do you like a chocolate covered pretzel?
They're a little melted, but damn, they are exquisite.
Michael Rooker is just so good. I love him.
Yes.
But I don't know, Jeremy, real quick before we move on, what are some of your expectations of the third film? I know that you said you haven't seen the second one either, right?
I haven't. No,
and I know for me and you it'd be a little difficult, but I mean, what are some of your expectations in the third based on mine and yours limited knowledge of Art the Clown and the whole universe so far?
Yeah, because I would say for a jumping off point, this being, I guess, his first kind of standalone gig, that's, it's not bad. And I trust Tex's word. I'm sure this does blossom into something a little bigger. It's,
Oh, yeah.
Like we said with Jigsaw, it's like, yeah, you really only saw him for the last like 30 seconds of the movie. And you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. You know what I mean? So it does blossom into something bigger. So seeing that will be kind of cool. So I'm assuming with it being a 2.5 hour movie, I'm like, there's obviously got to be more packed into this movie, as there should be, because like this made enough money to where they're like, okay, we should probably, like he said, how do you go bigger? You got to go bigger and have some more crazy shit happen. So if that even happens in 2, and I'm like, well, yeah, then what do you do for 3? Like, I don't know. Apparently, kill Santa and wear his face. Ho ho ho, bitches! I don't know. He's gonna come down the. I'm like, it's very Art the Clown. To me, I'm like, I bet you he comes down someone's fucking chimney with that shit. Just,
if they give us Art the Clown riding on a reindeer, I'm going to lose it. Like, I'm going to just stand and applaud in the movie theater if that happens. That would be great.
So I don't know. Like, I don't have any context for the sequel, but I mean, maybe I can answer that better when we come around to doing the sequel. But like I said, I would just like to see more of Art the Clown. But I'm sure we get that in 2. But again, I'm just kind of curious as to how many creative kills we can get in the next 2 movies. Because you can. That's kind of what Jason Voorhees taught us all. You can kill anybody in a multitude of ways. So simple as picking up a sleeping bag off the ground with the person still in it. And finding the nearest tree. Now, granted, if I was
30 gallons of blood inside of it, yeah.
Now, granted, I'd have to be built like freaking Kane Hodder to do that, and I'm not. So I'll pick a different avenue. Like, I don't know, I can stab. Well, that was Mrs. Voorhees, but I can stab an arrow through Kevin Bacon's neck, just while he's sleeping. Maybe, I don't know. It might be more feasible than trying to do some shit like that. Or, just one punch a guy's head, clean off his shoulders, and straight into the garbage can. 2 points. Cool. That's still my favorite kill. It's so dumb and it's so quick. Just he like beats the shit. He's like, "Come on, asshole! Give me your best shot." Just take his head clean off.
I don't know.
Hard at that. I was like, okay, that's good. That's your Harrison Ford, your Indiana Jones. Like, that's the boxer is the guy swinging the fucking sword. And he's like, go ahead, dude, do it. Okay, boom, done.
Yeah, for me, one of the things I wanted, again, this was without having seen the second one yet, so I don't know the events of the second one. I want to see Art out in the world. I don't want to see him in the confines of one building or one basement or one cistern room. I want to see him out there wreaking havoc. I think that's one of the fun things about, especially Michael Myers. The house in Haddonfield is kind of a focal point for everything about him and his story, but he's out there doing stuff. He's out there walking around Haddonfield. Same thing Jason left Crystal Lake and went to Manhattan at one point, went to space at one point. He's out in the world wreaking havoc in a lot of different environments. I want to see, and I think we'll probably get this out of the third one, just looking at the poster, we're probably going to see him kind of get out in the world in different environments and doing crazy shit. Because I think the environment in a film, where the film is based, has a lot to do with the movie. The location is a character in the film. You don't realize it a lot of times, but location is a character in a film. So, the bathroom in the first Saw movie. So, I mean, that location is now iconic. I mean, you know what I mean?
The gas station in Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah. I mean, so I want to see him I want to see him in different locales doing stuff. I mean, have the guy go down to Jamaica and just start whacking people on vacation or something.
Just watch Terrifier 2. There's like 5 different locations where action happens. There's like 4 or 5 where it happens.
I am wondering because the ending of the movie, we'll talk about this real quick. The ending of the movie kind of makes you wonder. He not to get too descriptive, I hope I don't piss YouTube off, but he puts the gun in his mouth and hits his own off button. So, I mean, I was like, and then he just spontaneously wakes up. Yeah, apparently it was just a snooze button. He spontaneously wakes up in the body bag, and I'm like, I don't understand this. He puts the weapon in his mouth. Well, it goes that you would expect it to go, rather than being. And this is kind of the scene right here where it starts to go.
Yeah,
down.
The cops get the drop on him, and he just boom.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, is he some kind of a spiritual demon of some kind? Was it all just a trick that he had planned in case he got caught? That was how he was gonna get out of it? I don't know. I want some explanation of that. But I mean, I'm wondering, does he actually end up in the North Pole around Santa and the elves, and that's actually Santa's face that's hanging from his neck? Or is it just a mall Santa that just happened to cross his path? I don't know. But yeah, I want to see him out in the world. Yeah, I want to see him out in the world. I want to see him take his chaos on the road. I think that'd be fun. I think that would make things really fun. I also want to see some more awesome kills. I mean, the sawing her in half with a hacksaw, nonetheless, which is not known for being actually good at cutting, not cutting great things, not cutting 4.5 feet of human body, but I mean, whatever. I want to see some cool kills. I mean, horror movie, a slasher film specifically, you have to have the great kills. If you don't do those right, then people are going to be disappointed with your product. And this movie does that for the most part. The kills are pretty good. But I other than that, I don't really know what to expect in the third film because I haven't seen the other stuff yet. So maybe after I've seen at least the second film, which I'll more than likely go see on Wednesday, that I'll have some better idea as to what my personal expectations would be. But I want to see him out in the world taking his chaos on the road. I think that'd be fun. But let's get to a little bit.
It's not exactly. I'm not saying I know from experience, but I've heard some wild shit. I mean, it kind of is hard to just straight up do that to yourself. Some people have lived trying to. I know I'm trying to be careful with YouTube now. We're real big. We got 500 subscribers. We're big boys now. But when I guess the kid's term nowadays is he tries to unalive himself by doing that
in Minecraft. He does it in Minecraft. That's how you get around it.
That's a kid's game. You don't want to. No. Anyway, I say Fortnite too, and I'm like 31 years old and I still play Fortnite, but whatever. So it's like it is a weird phenomenon that I'm like, it's possible he could have lived, and I mean, maybe they thought he was dead, and they took him to a morgue and said, "All right, here you go." And I mean, he did that shot. I mean, that's that same damn shot we saw from Saw where Hoffman just wakes up and just, I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Hey, maybe Art the Clown's a fan of Saw, and he was like, "Hey, that's a good one." So, People have lived through that. It is hard. I mean, your skull is pretty damn hard. I don't know how you would. I don't know.
I won't spoil anything for y'all.
There's got to be something there. But
I'll say this. Terrifier 2, I'm literally like holding my tongue because I just want to blah all these answers out.
All right.
I'll say this. Terrifier 2 answers 99% of those questions that y'all have want fulfilled. I will say that. Okay. It may not answer it all the way, but it gives you enough to where it's satisfactory to go on to Terrifier 3. So, like I said, it's Terrifier 3. It's a similar film, but it looks different. They had more money behind it. It's literally 2.5 hours long. I mean, it's a long film, but it doesn't feel long. So when you're watching it, you still get your blood and gore. Frank, you'll get your extra scenery. There's 4 or 5 set pieces that I can remember off the top of my head. So I think y'all are going to like 2 more than you did. Well, I think Frank will like 2 more than he did 1. But like I said, I think y'all are going to be happy with 2. So we'll see come Monday.
I think I know what I want for 3. If it's going to be some Christmas stuff, I think somebody's got to do it, and somebody's got to take one for the team. I swear, if I don't see him kill Mariah Carey when she's trying to sing that goddamn song,
that'd be great.
Make it an in-canon event.
The fact that she looks like Michael Myers would be tremendous too.
So the budget for the second one was $250,000, which is not a huge budget.
Yeah.
For legal reasons, YouTube and the internet as a whole, that was a joke. I don't really mean that. Please stop saying.
We know y'all don't have a sense of humor, so it is what it is.
But I'm serious. Stop singing the song. And
there's no official budget on here anyway for Terrifier 3.
Yeah,
I would imagine it couldn't be more than $1 million. It's like $1 million I could see.
Yeah,
I don't even think it's a. I vaguely remember seeing the budget months ago, but I don't think it was $1 million. Because, like I said, the next one it's going to be produced by Bloody Disgusting, the website, and Screambox, the app that streams horror. Because Terrifier 2, it premiered on Screambox and it went to theater. It made like $5 million or a little over something. Like it did well for the minuscule budget that it was on. It made a lot of money. It disgusted a lot of people, but
if this is still going on and being filmed, you were probably not going to quite know, and there's not a whole lot on it. We're not going to probably know how much the budget is. There's still things that could happen. So, yeah, I'm okay with it. Like I said, I caught 2, and it said 250,000. So you got $250,000 in that. And then what was the first one we said? 35,000. So
yeah,
that's a decent jump. But I would still say under $1 million, if maybe $1 million.
I would say $1 million at the high end. Anything more than that, I'd be like, no.
That's not bad.
Now, I'm reading this article that's in Deadline that came out. When did this article come out? It came out May 31st of this year. And Priscilla Smith of The Coven said the next installment, quote, there will be a much bigger budget this time around, which is intended to give the filmmakers more creative freedom and let them be as wild as they can be. But it doesn't say what the budget's going to be. Now, to me, much bigger on a $250,000 budget for the second one would be maybe doubling it and giving him $500,000, maybe going to $750,000. If you really wanted to fucking give him some money to play with, give him $1 million. Anything more than that, I would just be like, nah, don't.
Well,
this thing
you end up paying your way out of a better movie.
I'm assuming this might be IMDb since it's right above it. It says writer-director Damien Leone and producer Phil Falcone continue in their roles in the next installment of the franchise. Terrifier 3 will also be getting a budget of 7 figures, a major step up from the $250,000 budget of Terrifier 2. I'm like, I could see, maybe getting to $1 million. And that's still, like we've talked about in Hollywood, that's pennies still. That's not really.
Well,
but they can. We've seen what they can do with that amount of money. Like they could make some really cool stuff for 3. That's they put it together.
I'm gonna say the filming is done though, and the only reason I say that is because the girl that plays Sienna, the final girl of Terrifier 2, she's part of SAG. Like even her Twitter profile logo is the SAG-AFTRA logo,
That was my
and she
next
does
question.
nothing but
Yeah.
she does nothing but talk about the protests and the lockouts and the whatever. So technically, she's a SAG member now. Which David Howard Thornton, I don't know if he's done anything posting about it on Twitter. If he has, I haven't seen it. But I know Lauren Lavera, which is the girl's name, she's big into that SAG stuff. So I'm gonna say filming is probably done if I had to guess. Now there may be some like post production that they may haven't done, but I would guess filming is probably wrapped. But I don't know.
Your stuff you gotta do after the fact, and
Yeah, there could be reshoots or whatever.
All kinds of crap. Like you still gotta.
Right. But as far as principal photography, their first run, I'd venture to say they probably completed that because they made Terrifier 2 in like 20-something days. It didn't take very long, I don't think.
Yeah.
So it was quick. It was it was not a long shoot when they did Terrifier 2, but
man, if I had $250 million in 20 days, I'd make you something. I don't care. I'll make
right. Right. It's like I said, it's technically they're an independent film because, like I said, they're not tied to a studio.
Yeah.
But they're using SAG actors like Lauren Lavera, so it is what it is. Well, I don't know. It's weird because I know the SAG actors are not allowed to go to cons and make money and promote, but Lauren Lavera has been doing this entire time. This has been going on. She's going to all the horror cons, signing autographs and taking pictures and whatever.
I think you can do cons. It's doing any promotional stuff for your films is not allowed. Because I remember the day that the SAG strike started. Was it Blue Beetle? Right. One of the big films. That film had its red carpet debut that day, and I think some people were already on the red carpet when the strike started, so they called them all and said go home right now. They bounced from the premiere and left. They weren't allowed to do any of the marketing or any of the appearances for the film. But I don't know if it was one of the bigger movies that actually got like a big red carpet thing in LA. They called them on the red carpet.
Wasn't it?
All bounced.
The movie about the doll. Whoa, damn! With Margot Robbie, what she played?
Barbie.
Barbie was one that they were overseas on the red carpet for, and they had to walk off. I remember them talking about that at the same time too. They were overseas when it happened.
Yeah, there might have been a couple of them, but let's get to a little bit of trivia now because I found some good ones from this film. Let's see. David Howard Thornton was actually the 6th person who auditioned for the Art the Clown role. During the audition, he began miming tasting his beheaded victim's blood, but then added salt to it to improve its flavor. This is what won him the role.
Yeah.
This guy's genius, man. He's a real life clown, and it shows because whenever you see him riding on like the tricycles and doing all the things that he does, it's just you can't help but love the guy. Like he's going to do horrible things, and you still love this dude. I do anyways, but it is what it is.
I will say that, one of the really cool things about this movie I like is he is kind of perfectly cast. Because we've talked about it, and Curry being his Pennywise and Skarsgård doing his version of Pennywise. They weren't perfectly cast for what they wanted to do with that particular character in that particular film. I do believe that he is actually pretty well cast. There is something about the way he carries himself in this that does the character a lot of justice. So yeah, it's like this scene where he's just sitting there staring dead ass at the girl with that grin on his face, not ordering food, not trying to like side eye her or look like he's not staring at her or look nonchalant. He's just staring right at her, trying to be the creepiest that he could possibly be in the moment. I'm like, okay, I dig that. I'm with it.
I try to take some notes for the haunt I work out. I'm like, he's got a lot of expression and body language, and like even it's a little bit of physical comedy. And I'm like, I like this. So, like I said, when I'm wearing, hell, I said, I have it sitting right here. There's a clown mask right here. like I said, I don't talk. I try not to because you can't, you got a little slit in the mouth and you can't hear me anyway. So I try to do other stuff to still creep people out, and that's the kind of shit I do. I'll just like stare at you and just wait, or I'll point, or I'll just like start waving at you and shit like that. I'll creep you out.
Well, the perfect example of this in this film is when he has Dawn upside down. When he's looking at Dawn, he's got like a serious face while he's cutting. But as he's cutting her in half, he turns around to look at Tara, and he's smiling like, "Hey, Mom, are you seeing? Like, are you watching? Are you watching? Are you watching?" As he's doing it. And when he goes back and forth, he's giving you different facials. Or when he's hilariously cackling, laughing, but he's never making a sound. I mean, he's slapping his own knees. He's very animatronic in a way. And that's what makes it so creepy is you never hear a noise. But it's like, this dude is just chaos. I mean, if Michael Myers is the boogeyman, this guy's chaos right here. So, I think it's great.
Well, you know what this thing. Yeah, what you said about him actually plays in this next piece of trivia. David Howard Thornton, who portrays Art the Clown, has previous mime experience, which he utilizes in this performance. Yeah, it doesn't. I was wondering. It doesn't specifically say in this movie, and I don't know if it addresses it in the second one or anywhere else in these other things that he's in. But is he actually mute, or is it just something that he does so that it makes it scarier for his victims? Because I mean, there was like when he gets stabbed with the railroad spike or that giant nail or whatever it is, and he kind of goes like this, but doesn't actually cry out or anything. I thought, to me, I was like, he's probably mute, but I don't really know. Because all some of these serial killers in movies, they have this one specific thing, and maybe it's just something he does. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, it's
today,
mime experience.
He's never. To date, Art the Clown, from the Night Circle to Terrifier 2, he's never made a sound, he's never made a noise, he's never sneezed or never made a cough. And it's never clarified, is he mute or is he doing it as a choice? Like I said, Damien Leone has not fleshed out who and what Art is. And like, y'all said earlier, the not knowing is sometimes the best part because you can make it up for yourself.
Yeah, but another piece of trivia that speaks to that is David Howard Thornton described Art as an evil Mr. Bean. He was also inspired by other silent and physical actors such as Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton, Lon Chaney, Doug Jones, and Jim Carrey. There is something kind of Jim Carrey-like about the way he carries himself.
I can get the Jim Carrey. I can get that. That really, I didn't know that was one of his, inspirations, but it really comes through when you say that. I can see that very well.
Mm-hmm. Very animated with his facial expressions. So, I mean, you can imagine that's where it probably comes from.
Didn't Jim Carrey did a movie in the, I want to say, early mid 90s, about the time he was getting big on In Living Color and his career really started to take off, called Rubber Face or something like that. It was all about because he's always been able to do things with his face. I mean, like you saw in like The Grinch That Stole Christmas and all that. He's always been able to do so. And if you watch half the characters he plays on In Living Color, I mean, that's In Living Color was better than Saturday Night Live for the whole fucking time it was on the air. But
let me show you something.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't even just Fire Marshal Bill, which was one of the funniest characters ever on that show.
Yeah, I know.
It was.
Let me show you something.
It was the difference, like the Swedish bodybuilder and like all this other shit that he did.
Right.
It was just like all of his stuff there was a different
background guy
for all of them. Yeah, and he does it a lot in like the Ace Ventura movies too. He does a lot there.
Alrighty then.
So yeah, there is something very Jim Carrey-like about his performance. But, talking a little bit about the area where they filmed it, the underground tunnels used in the film were part of the abandoned Seaview Hospital, which was once the largest tuberculosis sanitarium in the United States. These tunnels that the movie were filmed in, and talk about perfect location shooting, were used to transport the dead out of sight of the other patients where they were to be cremated.
Cool.
Bring out your dead.
I want to go do I want to go do a like haunted ghost tour through those tunnels. I think that'd be fun.
When I was going to go to New York a couple of years ago, before some bad coughed in Wuhan, the whole world had to stop for 3 years. There's actually there's actually an underground walk in Manhattan where it's you walk from like some place in Manhattan, and it's like 2 or 3 miles underground, and it looks kind of like catacombs or something like that, and it's only lit by candlelight. And for like a couple of bucks, you go into one area, you go down to the thing in one area, you just walk this underground tunnel in New York that's only lit by candles, and you pop out the other end, and then you go on home. And I was just like, I want to do that, but I don't think Jennifer's going to want to do it. I was like, but yeah, so and to top it off, you go to places like the catacombs in Paris and stuff like that. I mean, you've been able to tour those forever. But yeah, it would be kind of cool to go to a place like that. But let's see. The director, Damien Leone, actively made Art the Clown as different from its Pennywise as much as possible. For example, Art does not have hair, he isn't colorful, and he doesn't speak. There are significant differences between him and Pennywise. They're both very intimidating and scary, and they both kill people. But I mean, you get a different vibe from this one. I mean, the fact that he's black and white, it gives him it does give him a different feel.
Well, because it's that jarring effect of like, it's black and white. It's very, it's bold, but then like when you see him get splattered with blood, you get color into it. It's like, Jesus shit. You know what I mean? It's like, it seems, like I said, it's like you get blood on your white sheets or something, you know what I mean? Or on a white t-shirt. It stands out. So it kind of makes it a little more terrifying. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I wear lighter colors.
There's similarities.
Like I can put blood on myself and it shows up because it stands out more. I'm not just gonna wear all black.
There's similarities between Art and Pennywise. I mean, they both have the eyes that light up. I believe it's in All Hallows Eve. There's, in the first It movie where It is on the side of the road hitchhiking. Art does that very similar, and he's got a sign holding he's calling a woman a very terrible word on the sign. I can't say it because we're now big time YouTubers. We'll get ripped off the airways. But there's similarities there. But what makes them so different is not just the color scheme and the muteness, but Pennywise is he's like a being from outer space. Art the Clown is a sadistic Satanist killer clown. I mean, Art's got more in line with John Wayne Gacy than he does Pennywise, if you really want to look at it. But it's like you said, a killer clown is not a new thing. I mean, there's been 100 of them, so it is what it is.
Jeremy's talked a lot about the jack-o'-lantern. The jack-o'-lantern shown in the pizza parlor was actually CGI. Director Damien Leone said he wanted the scene to have more of a Halloween feel to it, so he added it in post-production. That's good ad. Good ad, because that was actually a pretty cool visual.
Well, that's what's so funny about that scene is, do y'all remember Halloween 2018?
Yes.
Yeah.
Michael Myers does that exact same thing to the police officer. He cuts off that guy's head and turns him into a jack-o'-lantern too. So Halloween was stealing from Terrifier. So, they're kind of borrowing from one another. It's all in good fun.
Let's see. David Howard Thornton's favorite fictional character, he says it's the Joker and hopes to one day portray him. Well, he actually kind of did. I mean, it was in the fan-made stuff that I'm not sure where you could find it, but I'm going to try to find it because I kind of want to see him. But look, if you're listening, James Gunn and Peter Safran, you're eventually going to have a Joker in your new DCU. You may as well give a call to David Howard Thornton because he's kind of a big deal now.
There's 2 people I want for Joker, either David Howard Thornton or Richard Brake, the guy that played. He played Joe Chill in Batman Begins. But if y'all ever seen 31 from Rob Zombie, he played Doomhead. He plays like just an all white faced clown, and to get the red makeup, he literally breaks his own nose and he makes it out of his blood. Either Thornton or Richard Brake are perfect Jokers, and will they get the opportunity? We'll see. But David Howard Thornton, the way he can emote, he can make you like him as he's killing you. And that's what the Joker kind of does. So I think he's perfect.
I think it'd be interesting to see him as Joker. I mean, it depends on what kind of Joker we're going to get. Are we going to get somebody who's a little more comedic, kind of like Nicholson's Joker? I don't really want to see another Cesar Romero kind of Joker. I think that'd be better for TV, like the kid stuff like we got from the Batman '60s TV series with Adam West and Burt Ward. But it depends on what kind of a Joker they're going to.
If he was going to do Joker, he should do the Joker from A Death of the Family. And that was a run in the comic books where Joker cut his own face off and wore it as a mask. I love that version of Joker, and I think David Howard Thornton would be perfect as that version of Joker. I like that'd be cool.
Hey, get him to do the damn Batman Who Laughs that we keep wanting.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay. How much
horror movie shit? So
we need to go find some. Skeletons in James Gunn's closet to make this happen because that needs to happen.
Was he over at Epstein's Island? I don't know. We got to find that out. Somebody look at that flight log.
We need blackmail. If y'all have blackmail on James Gunn, send it to us so we can make this happen, y'all. We came up with a good idea.
They're only going to get mad if we blackmail them if the movie sucks. So we have to make sure it's a good movie. But,
right, of course.
Yeah, I talked earlier about David Howard Thornton. The whole middle finger scene. He actually ad-libbed that moment of Art the Clown flipping off Victoria after she stabs his foot with the railroad spike.
It feels genuine. I love that.
This made the crew laugh so much that director Damien Leone decided to keep it in. This was in the raw footage and was not technically part of the film. This led the actress Samantha Scaffidi having to be digitally removed from the shot.
Damn.
Wow.
But it was a great scene.
There's so many little things that he does. Like, I mean, there's that scene. I love the scene where he's in the pizzeria, and right after he's staring at the girls, he goes over, steals a quarter off the table, like shows it to him, and then goes over to the quarter machine, gets the ring out, and he's proposing to the girl. And Dawn, she's like, "Oh, that's the sweetest thing that happened to you tonight." It's just like you get a little like I usually don't like a lot of comedy in my horror, but this kind of comedy works because it doesn't take you out of the violence and the gore, but it's situational and it works.
This is haunt actor shit is what this sounds like to me. I'm like,
yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Fun. You got to screw with people, make them laugh, but still they're kind of terrified. I'm like, okay, but what are you gonna do? You still scare them, but like, you still gotta have fun with them and whatnot. Yeah.
Let's see. Michael Gianelli, who portrayed the Art the Clown in the original All Hallows Eve in 2013, decided not to reprise his role due to how long it would take to apply the heavy prosthetics and makeup. Furthermore, they actually used the prosthetics from the first film that were used on Gianelli, but they had to be modified to fit David Howard Thornton's face.
So they frame his face pretty well. So I like the way it looks. I was gonna say what prosthetic? I mean, like his nose, obviously, probably his cheeks, and maybe the chin.
That's
they did the.
It's not a whole lot, but like I don't know.
Yeah,
probably some stuff around this the side right here. By
I can tell
like there's a lot more.
Yeah, like it looks like a skull on his face, like the temples and like his nose, obviously, and maybe his chin. And then you got like that little the little white hood, whatever, over his head with the hat. So
yeah.
And then there's a hell of a lot of makeup on his face, obviously. So.
They pretty much framed his face, kind of like y'all were saying, so his actual face would look sunken in more. And he actually lost. Thornton actually lost some weight prior to doing this role, so he would look even more emaciated with that makeup. The buildup from the eye sockets down to the cheekbones, the nose, and the chin, to kind of make him look more sickly. What I mean?
Let's see. So, Tex, what is your favorite scene of this entire movie?
I think I know what it is.
Oh, that's easy. It's got to be Don's kill.
Yeah.
Don's kill is like number one. I'm a sucker for a blonde in a horror movie, but Jesus, the scene. I mean, you've got Tara, restrained to the chair over there, and Art walks over with the hacksaw, and he kind of pulls her hair back, and he acts like he's going to cut her, and then he walks over, and it's like he's presenting a magic show. he rips the curtain down and Dawn's tied upside down, nothing but her drawers. And then I love how comedically he rips those off and just chunks them, and then starts cutting like he's building, cutting 2x4s for his house or something. The whole scene is just executed so perfectly. It's a top 10 kill for me all time. I love that kill.
Well, while looking for an original horror scene that has never been done on film before, director and special effects creator Damien Leone read books about medieval forms of torture for inspiration. This eventually led to Dawn's death scene, where she is literally sawed in half.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right up Main Street. No,
she gets it hot dog style, buddy. I mean, just imagine
roast beef style. Jesus Christ, man, she had a.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Right, just imagine the cut in a hot dog bun, up and down. That's
just like
that's how Dawn gets it. You know what I mean? It's
woo.
It's pretty good. Like I said, I love Dawn. She's a gorgeous woman, and
I've seen something like that done in other movies. I think it was it 13 Ghosts? The one character is trying to get from. There's a glass door that comes down, and a character gets unfortunately caught underneath it as it's coming down, and it basically cuts them down the middle like this. It cuts them like this, and then you'll see like the front part of the person's body slide down the glass as the part of the other side of the glass is stuck and slides down after.
That's happened.
Brain and spine. Wow. So I mean, there's been stuff like that, but never somebody sawing them in half. It was always mechanically done. You know what I mean?
That also happened in the first Resident Evil movie with Alice when the laser grid comes down.
Yeah.
And I forget what the black guy's name is in the original Resident Evil, but he gets like split in half, and you get to see like his front half fall down and whatever. And technically in Saw 5, the blonde girl, whenever she's jerked back, it's not down the middle, but whenever you see her head get cut off, it's kind of similar of a kill, but in a different way.
With Detective Halloran too, when he got filleted like a fucking demogorgon, and his whole head just opened up like a blossom.
Yeah.
So
there's been similar things, but this is like I said, this is a top 10 kill for me. I mean, if we were ever do a top 10 kill show, this would be pretty high on my list, just because you don't expect it, and what makes it so good is the practical effects of it make it feel that much better. You know what I mean? So I love that kill.
It's the one that sticks with you.
That's definitely the coolest kill in this entire movie. Like I said,
I
said, you went from that really cool kill to him just deciding to get a gun and shoot this girl in the face 200 times. I was like, come on, man, really? You were so creative the last time with the blonde girl. You got to take the easy way out here? Come on.
Wait till you see Terrifier 2. There's some salt and bleach action, and that's all I'll say. Yeah,
a lot of fun. All right, a lot of fun.
Yeah, I won't spoil, but just be prepared. It's it's up there. I'll leave it at that.
But that seems like a good place to start wrapping things up. Let's get some final thoughts. I'll go to you first, Jeremy. Final thoughts on 2016's Terrifier.
For being. I'll say original, but I mean, we know he came from a different anthology kind of film, but still, for going on your own little solo run, I mean, I think this is a pretty cool movie. And again, it's a lot of fun. I don't know if we're kind of, like I said, we talked about I guess another turn of the century, but early 2000s horror, when we started getting into some more brutal stuff, more in your face, chopping people apart and shit. So, this kind of fits in there, but like we said, it's almost like a classic slasher movie, but like with the kind of brutality that we've come to expect out of, like Tex said, the last 20 some years of making horror movies. So, and like I said, there's stuff that will stick with you, like sawing somebody in half, just right down the middle. So, or like I said, making jack-o'-lantern heads. So it's worth a watch, and I mean, I haven't seen 2, but it got me. I'm curious enough that I'm like, I definitely want to see 2. It was a lot of fun, and you can't help but laugh when he just fucking flips her off, and the fact that was just ad-libbed makes that so much better. I'm like, I get it, because like I think up there somewhere when I was talking about the selfie shit, my mom said, "But do you let them take the selfie?" I'm like, yeah, but the last second, I flip him off because I'm like, I'm still in character. You don't break character. I'm the devil. What do you expect me to do? And I will photobomb you. Like, I mean, trust me. Never lose your phone around haunt actors because I will tell you right now, anyone who's ever been to a haunt and you've lost your phone, check your camera roll. Because trust me, we sat there and took selfies with your phone before we fucking turned it back in. Just, I'm telling you right now, secrets of the trade. We like to fuck around and do stuff like that. So, yeah, it's a fun movie. Like I said, I enjoyed it, and it was a lot of fun. And I do want to see the upcoming sequels.
Tex, how about you? Give me your glowing review, quick review.
Glowing eye
review. Goodness. I can't praise this film enough. This is this generation's Halloween. This film will be looked at in 30 years the way we praise Halloween now. Damien Leone, he struck gold with this character. It's a very simple character. It's a nihilistic psycho clown murderer. There's nothing original here, but there's greatness here. This is a top 10 film for me of anything. If I was on a desert island, this would be one of the films that I take with me. I don't give tens for movies, but this is a 9.5. This is this good of a film. And I love this franchise, and I cannot wait for the 15 sequels that come when he fights a leprechaun in space with Chucky on the backside. I don't care. Give me all of it. I'm here for it.
We're going to have an Avengers movie with the killer clowns from outer space, damn it. Together. So, why not?
Real quick, Tex, tell me something you didn't like about the movie. I've heard you pour praise all over this thing. Give me something you didn't like about
something I didn't like. I thought it was a little short. I would have liked a little more. I would have liked a little more when it comes to once Victoria, the sister, comes into it. I wanted to see her and Art battle a little bit more before the police come in and everything else. I would have liked to see more at the end, but obviously they had $25,000. You can only do so much, so it is what it is.
Yeah. For me, I'd say it's a good start to a franchise, or a good first solo outing. It's probably not really the start of the character, but or the franchise, but it's a good first solo outing for Art the Clown. Like Tex said, it's low budget. I mean, Damien Leone is really just kind of getting started when this movie came out. I mean, this movie is now 7, 8 years old. So yeah, he was just getting started when this came out. I mean, if I were to make a movie right now, I can't imagine I'd make anything any better than this. So, I mean, I give credit where credit is due. It's a good start. I think Damien Leone's got good vision, got good potential. I want to see him grow as a filmmaker and as a storyteller. Art's certainly an interesting, kind of a perfect character for the straight up slasher genre. I mean, like I said, Killer Clowns is not a new thing, but if you can give it a different spin, give it kind of a different dimension, you take some of the color away, give him a different thing, make him unique compared to the rest of the murderous clowns, and you might have something to work with. I don't feel like I wasted my time watching the movie. I think overall it was pretty good. I'll probably watch it again at some point. It was a decent film. It was a good start for what will probably be another 10 franchise film franchise long movie that's going to eventually see him go to Manhattan and go to space, and we may even see a Art the Clown and Frankenhooker crossover at some point. Tex can.
Oh my god!
But
Jesus,
damn it! So that means we're going to have Monday Night Terrifier now and do all the damn movies all at once. Like,
well, but yeah, I mean, look, like I said, low budget is great for horror films, and low budget helped this movie. It helped this movie kind of stick to what it needed to be at its core. So while I don't think it lived up to the hype, I don't think it was a bad movie either. It was plenty watchable. It was plenty fun. Art's got a lot of potential as a character. Leone's got a lot of potential as a storyteller, as a director. He certainly knows what he's doing when it comes to the effects. So yeah, it's not bad. You should go check it out. You can watch it for free right now on Tubi. I think it's available on some other streaming services
Amazon,
as well.
I think.
It is.
Yeah, you can watch it for free. I know for free on Tubi, so it's not going to cost you anything except for an hour and 26 minutes of your time, or an hour and 28 minutes of your time. Not a terribly long run time either. So if you want some of the blood, guts, and spit and ass, and you want to see it portrayed in a kind of interesting way, give Terrifier a watch. It's not that bad. I know I say it doesn't live up to the hype, but that's part of the problem. Is like things get so hyped, hype,
Yeah.
that sometimes when you finally go see it, it doesn't quite live up to everything you've heard, but it doesn't make it bad. You know what I mean? And I think that's one of the reasons. If I hadn't heard all the hype, I think I might have come out of my first viewing of this with a little more appreciative. But there was just so much hype that I was like, this must be a fantastically awesome movie. When in reality, it's a beginning. As I sit here and think about it, it's a beginning. And again, I'll see 2 sometime soon. Actually, probably Wednesday, to be perfectly honest. I'll probably go to the theater because I really want those posters. And then eventually 3 will come out next year, and I'm sure we'll break that one down for you when the time comes. So, yeah, I mean, it's an interesting film. I think you guys should check it out if you're into the horror genre. It's a lot of fun. And again, his portrayal as Art the Clown, I mean, I'm not going to knock the guy. He's very, very good at what he does, at playing the character. It would be very interesting to see him play the Joker. Depending on what kind of a Joker they're putting in the DCU moving forward, it would be interesting to see him do it. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I mean, just based on what I've seen in this one movie of him as Art the Clown, I think that would be interesting. But, there's been so many great portrayals of the Joker. It'd be really hard to kind of do something vastly different enough and unique enough and cool enough, quite frankly, to kind of be up there with the Ledgers and Nicholsons, even the Cesar Romero, really. But yeah, it's a good movie. I think you guys should give it a watch if you like the horror stuff. Thanks to my co-host for coming and hanging out tonight, for being fantastic as usual. We're getting ready to wrap up we've only got one more Halloween-y scary movie coming up before we move on to some other things for November. It's been a very eventful month. Again, 500 subscribers. We finally hit it, thanks to you guys on here with me, of course, to Lady Cora, who's been a part of it, to Rachel, who's been on here, has been so important as well, for letting me steal Jeremy away 3 nights a week to do all this YouTube stuff. In the middle of planning a wedding for you guys and all that, the scary season, the haunt. I mean, I know it's been a burden on your guys' time for sure, but Jeremy's been here for really since the beginning. Tex has been around for a while.
We talked about this back in like 2012 when you and I worked together. We're like, what if we had a YouTube channel? I was like, yeah. So,
yeah, why the hell not? But
this man right here came up to me and was like, "Hey, so hear me out."
Yeah, so why don't we do this? But but thanks to you two for being such an important part of it. Thanks to Lady Cora. Thanks to Brooding Gamer. To all the guys that have come on here. To all the people that you see down in the description. Some of the great movie YouTubers. Some of the gamers that are down there. Even Casey, he's not so bad. I know we give Casey hell, but he's not so bad. But thanks to all you guys for helping us get up to here. I'm going to talk to the guys in the next few weeks and schedule the 500 sub charity stream for the Abandoned Pet Project. We will get to that. I'll work it into the schedule somehow. Right now, I'm thinking New Year's Eve. It just makes more sense to do it then. Hopefully, we'll get a few more subscribers by then. I'll be able to plug it. Give me a couple of months to really put it all together and plug it and make it a big deal so we can actually raise some good money for that charity. We'll get around to that soon. As soon as I have more information about that, I'll definitely send it out to you guys. But thanks to my co-host for being so awesome tonight as usual. The Shape from the Lone Star State, my man Tex. Where can the folks at home find you, sir?
Well, here, whenever we do whatever. Recommendation for the night. Jeremy, I think I mentioned this one to you the other day, but I wanted to let everybody else know. First of all, this credit goes to Alex from Alex and the Garbage Man. He had sent me these films, more specifically the first one. The Houses That October Built. It's a found footage horror film about a documentary crew wanting to find the scariest haunted houses. It's like in Texas and Louisiana is where they filmed it. I think a little bit in Georgia, maybe. I can't remember. But they go from like the mundane, just regular ones, but they're looking for that extreme haunt. And they really highlight how crazy some of these haunt actors can be, which is why I thought of Jeremy when I watched this, because I think he'd really dig it. It's free on Tubi. And it's pretty gnarly. It's pretty extreme. It kind of made my hair stand up in my arm a little bit whenever I was watching it at times. The Houses That October Built. Not so much the sequel. I'd say stick with the first one, but go check it out.
And to my hetero life mate Jeremy, where can the folks at home find you on the internet, my friend?
Well, I'm here right now. We're here now. I forgot I left that joke in the dust. I was like, damn it, I need to bring that back.
We're now. Everything that's happening now is happening now.
What happened to then? You missed it. When? It's on the Osterberg channel. No. So, yeah, if you haven't seen Spaceballs, I don't know what you're doing with your life. Yeah, no, I'm here. I'm here on Thursdays, Tuesdays. Yeah, so we're reviewing new stuff. Usually it's on like Tuesdays, so we'll see something over the weekend or whatever, and that's the first little round of stuff. And then Thursdays, that's your flagship, so that's when we're talking about stuff like this. So I'm always usually down. Yeah, I'm usually always down to clown if I'm not doing other stuff. So yeah, I know I got puns for days, man. This is why I sound like a pretentious prick. That's why I'm a actor. But I'm like the schlockiest of actors. I'm a haunt actor, so I can't, you know what I mean? We know what we're about. No, so that, and speaking of that, that's this is the last weekend for that, so it's kind of sad. That's the thing I look forward to most. But hey, that means I'll actually have more time and probably more sleep to do stuff. But yeah. So other than that, just carrying Casey's ass every time he decides to not be setting up a stream for a whole week, and then
hope you got a good chiropractor.
Yeah, I know. I'm starting to ache a little bit. Like I said, I'm 31, but man, my back feels like it's 50. It's that man. I think he knows which. I think he knows which end of the gun to point at the people. But
congratulations on $4.99. Really.
Oh, Casey, come on! What a dick!
I figured he probably.
We talk nice about him. We talked nice about him like 5 minutes ago, and then he comes in here with this nonsense and wonders why he gets treated the way that he does. There's your answer. My gosh.
You're bringing it on yourself, man. No.
Good Lord.
No, we love you. Come on now. Put it back. You take it back right now. No,
yeah. Right now, you take that back.
Well, you know what we did? We said his name too many damn times, and he showed up.
I know.
It's like Candyman.
You say it 3 times. Beetlejuice, damn it. That's the problem.
We need to figure out what number it is. Is it like 3, 5, 7? So we don't go to that limit next time. We can keep this from happening.
Yeah, we gotta test that out a little bit. Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
I'll just take his wrench away so we can ban him.
Actually, well, hold on. Actually, I will say the next big thing, and like I said, now they'll have more focus. I know I've said it a million times, but I'm a terrible content creator. I've thought about doing, since like I said, I do cosplay and I like to do effects and I like to make props and shit like that. So I was like, well, there's an outlet like Instagram where I can show stuff like that. So maybe I'll be able to focus more on that and start kind of from the ground up again doing stuff like that, because the big Comic-Con we go to is coming up in December. So there's going to be I think literally tomorrow I'm trying to find a cosplay I'm putting together. Well, cosplay, it's Halloween, that I'm going to wear to work. Right. So next is gathering up stuff for Comic-Con. So you'll probably see stuff for that, which got to try some stuff on, make sure we got the right props and all the other stuff. And we may or may not be left turning on a cosplay because same characters, but different looks. Just got to try stuff on. So that'll be something to look forward to.
As for me, you can find me here see, what's funny is he resubscribed to Stream Elements.
I just saw it. Yep. Thanks, Stream Elements.
For subscribing. Thanks for unsubscribing and then resubscribing for about the umpteenth million time, Casey. But
damn it.
But yeah, as for me, you'll find me. I don't know exactly when we're going to do the Five Nights at Freddy thing. I don't really want to do it on Halloween because I'm sure maybe Jeremy's probably got plans. I don't know what Texas got going on. We'll have to figure that out. But the Five Nights at Freddy news is not good right now. I don't know if me and Tex were talking earlier, Jeremy. They've actually done Five Nights at Freddy's on Peacock today.
I was looking at our chat, and me and Gamer were talking back and forth. I'm like, again, whatever. Yeah. Make your own. Just go watch it. Make your own opinion about it. And it could be, like I said, I don't know how she does it because this is like one of her favorite things. The lore in this is insane, and it will make your head explode. I know like the main body of the games, and then just what she's explaining to me, I've kind of pieced it together. I kind of get it. I'm like, that's the fine line you got to walk. You got to make it. And for anyone who maybe doesn't know or just kind of gets the basics, you got to make the movie for these people where it makes sense. But then you got fans that come into it that know everything. You're looking for any little Easter egg, so you got to appease your fans too. So you kind of have to at least have some a toe in the water at least. Like, I know it sounds
Kind of
wild to have,
sounds like this would be better as a streaming service show than a movie. The way you're talking about it,
like I said, there is a lot to it, and you could, but I don't know. And it's not to say that we probably couldn't, because there are the spinoffs, like the sister locations and stuff like that. So I mean, you get the main body of, there's 5 kids that went missing. They get possessed by animatronics and they kill people. I don't know what you want. Like, if you can't wrap your head around that, I don't know how. I mean, we have Willy's Wonderland and Banana Splits. It's the same movie. Are they great? No. Are they entertaining? Yeah. You want to see Nick Cage start kicking a robot's ass for no reason and then go back to
Cage Rage?
Yeah, go back to popping his energy drinks and playing pinball. Like, sure, because why not? I don't know. I'll make my. I'm seeing it tomorrow, actually. So I'm
gonna try to watch it tonight since it's out on Peacock. I mean, I'm gonna take the kids at some point for Halloween because they want to go see it. But I never trust a movie critic because most of the movies that I love they crap on, like Terrifier or something. So I don't let Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb make up my mind for me because, that'd be stupid to do. So see it, judge it accordingly. I mean, it is what it is.
Usually when I see a terrible critic score and a high audience score, that's when I'm like, okay, I'm probably going to like this movie.
That's what
because the audience matters. The critic, look, I've said it a million times. Siskel and Ebert, like the gold standard of film reviewing ever. They did. Roger Ebert didn't like Star Wars when it came out in the 70s.
Right.
That talk about things that didn't age well. It's like so just whatever. Go see the movies. Like I said, I don't like it when people go to movies wanting to hate them. If you don't want to like the movie, just don't go see it. It's like Barbie. It's like I had no interest in seeing Barbie. I didn't go to see Barbie wanting to hate it. I was like, I'm just going to wait till it comes out on streaming. I don't want to force myself to go see a movie that I'm not interested in. That's one of the nice things about doing this thing, just us, and not having to work for a big company where I have to go see these movies so I can review them. I can pick and choose what I review. If I don't want to review Barbie, I just want to review Barbie. I'll catch it when it comes out on a streamer or something like that just to give it a shot, but I don't want to spend any money on it. You know what I mean? But go into it. Go into every movie with an open mind. Go into it wanting to see this person's particular piece of art. If not, then just don't go. I don't get why people go to movies wanting to hate movies. It's like, whatever. I went into this movie with no expectations, and I was able to approach it a little bit more objectively. I think there were things I liked, things I didn't like. Well, at the end of the day, I was just like, it's a decent enough movie. I watched it for a couple hours and I had fun.
That's how I'm going into this Five Nights at Freddy's. I mean, I've looked into a little bit of the lore, but like Jeremy said, there's years worth of stuff that you would have to sit down and try to learn and figure out. So,
it's pretty wild.
I mean, this is a Blumhouse movie, and y'all know how I feel about Blumhouse, especially here recently. So, I'm keeping expectations.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, I'm basically walking in with no expectation, trying to go enjoy a good, scary movie, hoping I'm happy. So it is what it is.
It's
all good.
It's the problem is with this is like it's the Charlie Day meme where you're trying to figure out, okay, this person's here, they did this one died here, he died, he did this, he killed this person, it was this year, because it's like Christ. The games when you do 1, 2, 3, I'm like, that's not the actual order. It's like one happens and then like one's actually a prequel, one's takes hell. We don't even still know when the last game that just came out. When the hell does that take place? I'm like, I have no idea.
It's kind of like watching a Texas Chainsaw movie. It could happen at any point on the timeline, basically.
It's like we've got it kind of figured out, but like this recent game, we're like, we have no fucking idea. It's all 80s glam rock looking. I'm like, cool, but is this like in the future? Because this shit happened like back in the 80s and some of the 90s. So I'm like, this looks like current year. This might be like in the 2020s. Like this timeline is pretty big. Actually, it goes back to the 50s, the original diner in the 50s. So I mean, like, it's insane. So I'll reserve my judgment until I see it tomorrow.
Yeah, hopefully Rachel will be able to join us for that one too. Her being so steeped in the history.
I'd have to be holding her back to try to not. So. Yeah.
I would like for her informed opinion to help guide my own on this.
But
I don't know exactly what day we're going to do the Five Nights at Freddy's review, but we will get it done at some point. And then, of course, November is going to be catching up on a lot of movies that we haven't been able to do for the last couple of years. I mean, The Marvels comes out next month. Obviously, we'll be doing that one. We haven't gotten around to doing Renfield yet. We'll do that. Obviously, we're going to do V for Vendetta. Hopefully, we'll be able to do that on the 5th of November. I think that'd be a lot of fun. But right now, we've got to schedule it.
Right.
And then, November 23rd, what day? Why wouldn't I on that day, since it's our usual streaming day, do JFK, one of the coolest Oliver Stone movies ever made, and then a couple other ones. So the next couple of months we're going to be catching up on a few things we haven't gotten around to the last year or so.
That's also my birthday.
See, so we're going to talk about a presidential assassination on Grim Tuesday's birthday.
On Thanksgiving of all days.
On Thanksgiving of all days.
Yeah.
Or maybe on, I don't know. We'll play around with the dates, but so come check us out. Yeah, and then come check us out. Whenever we're on here next. I'm starting to run out of gas, man. I'm getting really tired. Thanks, you guys, for coming to hang out. We very much appreciate it. We will see you guys next time. Until then. Oh yeah.
Happy Halloween.
I really do think Tex could eat a greasy croissant while carving up a dead body.
100%. You could give me a greasy, sloppy cheeseburger as I'm dismantling the corpse. I'd be perfectly fine. Wouldn't even bother me.